Oh, we're live. We are live. Joe is on his way in. He's going to be here in a couple minutes. So we are going to start this off so that we can start on time. Welcome to the live stream for the presidential debate. This is our watch party / drinking game. We're going to try and stay a little bit quiet during the actual debate. We might have some applause or some ooh-ahing during, but we're going to try and stay quiet so you can hear what's going on. There shouldn't be any breaks. This was the news of the day that the Biden campaign had asked for breaks, 2 breaks. They wanted Joe Biden to get a bathroom break, I guess, every 30 minutes. And the Trump campaign said no. If Donald Trump can do a 90-minute speech, no problem, then surely your candidate can too as well. So there shouldn't actually be any breaks. So what that's going to mean is we're not going to be able to interject too much when it comes to fact checking or what. If there's something glaring, yeah, we'll try and real quick interject. But we're going to try and stay back and let you listen to what's actually going on. So we have a drinking game for tonight. We posted it on our Facebook page. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to go ahead and post it up. But before I do, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up if you're on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, the bell for notifications. And if you're watching on Facebook, please do make sure that you like the video, comment, and share it. Very, very helpful. Facebook continues to throttle us because we talked about Kyle in Kenosha. So we can't advertise this. We can't actually, Facebook won't even take our money for another couple weeks. So please do share. It really does help us reach more people's news feeds. So let's go ahead and put up the drinking game, Mr. Producer. This is our producer, Josh. Everyone say thank you, Josh, for coming in late at night to do the second stream. This is the official Conservative Daily first presidential debate drinking game. So right off the bat, you're going to have to take a shot. If you don't have a shot, you're going to have to take a big gulp of beer if Joe Biden even shows up to the debate. If he shows up, you have to take a big swig. And then we start with the rules for taking a sip. You're going to have to take a sip if Joe Biden says, come on, man. If he says, you know, the thing. If he says, I'm the guy who, wait, slow down, Mr. Producer. If he says, I'm the guy who, he says, folks, this president, malarkey, the fact of the matter is, look, Obama, or something that's just genuinely confusing. And on the Donald Trump side, you have to take a little sip. If he says best, amazing, great, greatest, perfect, America first. If he says something about funny that's about Joe Biden, like how he doesn't even know he's alive, unsolicited ballots, Obama or Hunter. Then we can go down, Mr. Producer, scroll down. We get to the take a gulp section of our rules for the drinking game tonight. You're going to take a gulp, which we say is 2 or 3 sips. It's a little bit bigger than a sip. If Chris Wallace says, quote, I have to stop you there, which he will say, if he tries to fact check one of the candidates, and then if Joe Biden makes up a word, apologizes for talking too long, if you look, and he just seems genuinely lost, which that's going to be on the honor system. If he lies, if you hear him say something that's just a complete lie, if he refuses to answer a question, if he says something that's definitely racist, or if he forgets what he's trying to say. And on the Donald Trump side, you take a little bit, a gulp, 2 or 3 sips. If Trump says fake news, if he criticizes Chris Wallace, if he says the number 47, which he will say, if he makes you laugh, if he says China, says huge, or uses one of his patented nicknames like Sleepy Joe or Slow Joe. Then this is where it gets dangerous. You're going to have to finish your drink if Donald Trump mentions that Joe Biden is suffering from mental decline, if Donald Trump challenges Biden to a drug test, if Joe Biden says or does something that you consider to be creepy, if Joe Biden starts rambling and telling an unrelated story like how black children used to rub his leg hair in the pool when he was a lifeguard, if Joe Biden claims that millions of Americans have died from something, and you know that's definitely not true, and you have to finish your drink if Joe Biden's eyes start spontaneously bleeding, which I know that sounds weird, but it's happened during a debate before, so I figured include it. And then, this is where it gets truly crazy. I expect you to run around your house and drink every single ounce of alcohol in your house if Joe Biden pisses or craps himself on stage, or if Donald Trump pulls out a specimen cup to prove that he has already taken a drug test. Those are the things that probably won't happen, but in the event they do, we're drinking everything. We're drinking absolutely everything. So I'm going to need everyone in the comment section on YouTube, Facebook. Let me know what you're drinking.
If I gave you 25,
oh, turn that ad off.
Today,
turn the volume down.
Pay 2 years off your mortgage, escape the rat race for a while.
Can you skip the ad, Mr. Producer? Let's skip the ad. So yeah, this game is going to be difficult. It's not for the faint of heart. Mr. Producer, put it back up. Just skip the ad. We'll get to the C-SPAN coverage and we can make it silent. And Joe is here. We can go ahead and unmute Joe's mic. Joe, how's it going?
Good.
And Josh, if you can put headphones on and turn off those speakers, that'd be great. And if you can hit the skip video button, we can skip this ad. So everyone in the comment section, let me know what you're drinking. I am going to play it safe tonight, and I'm drinking Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. They're not a sponsor. They're just something I care very deeply about. So here you can see, and let's make sure we keep the volume down. The presidential debate starts in 26 minutes. So we're going to be able to see some of the C-SPAN coverage of them showing people. There will be an audience tonight. Each campaign is allowed to bring some guests. I know that Donald Trump has some surprises in store. I don't know who he plans to bring, but I know he plans to bring someone. So we're live. Let me know in the comment section. Continue to let me know what you're drinking. What are you drinking, Joe?
I'm drinking Weller, and I'm drinking Jefferson Ocean Cask Strength. So I broke out the good stuff.
Max, I'm going to go on a quick beer run for Joe.
And then
I'll be right back.
He's going to go get me some beer, too. So
Okay.
I would get him.
Okay, well, you only have 25 minutes.
To go down the hallway.
How long? Oh, down the hallway. Okay. That's fine. I was going to say.
We're in the office. We have beer here.
So people are asking if we're live on YouTube as well. We are.
Yeah, we are.
I just posted it in the comment section. We're live on YouTube as well. Hello to our YouTube audience.
Test.
We spent some time working this out. I can hear you, so just
Can you hear me?
take one headphone off so you can hear yourself until Josh gets here. So Joe is apparently going to test fate and go hard alcohol, whereas I am going with Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. Now, I don't have to drive. Joe, you're not driving tonight.
I'm not driving tonight.
Correct? Okay, so everyone can make sure that they know Joe's not going to get behind the wheel of a car tonight.
But I am picking up
Joe
a new
drank-
car in the morning.
Joe drank once, and the comment section on Facebook never forgot, and this has become a thing for the last 2 months. So we can see there Jim Jordan. He's there. We're gonna see lots of faces.
Love that guy.
Black voices for Trump.
MAGA.
So Trump is definitely going to be bringing some guests. Let's see if we can. Oh, you got the little stubby bottles.
I don't
of course.
even know what I'm doing. I don't like banquet. Why can't you just bring me Corona? Did I not order Corona? I thought I ordered Corona.
Is this an American debate or is this a Mexican debate?
Oh. Well, I have bourbon.
Yeah, I wouldn't drink Corona.
I
wouldn't drink Corona.
I can't believe you said that to me.
So some of the guests that Trump's going to be bringing. Trump is bringing Alice Johnson, who is the African-American woman who he helped release from prison, and she helped push through criminal justice reform. Ann Dorn, the widow of St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn, who was fatally shot while he was defending a store in Missouri in June that was being rioted. Both of them gave speeches at the GOP convention. We're going to see Rudy Giuliani is going to be there, as well as UFC fighter Colby Covington. He's bringing a UFC fighter, I guess, in case it devolves into fisticuffs. If the debate devolves into fisticuffs, we know that Colby will be able to take on Joe Biden and Hunter. So those are some of the. Apparently. Oh no, never mind. I'm reading this New York Post article. I thought that Malik Obama might be there, but no, he was brought last time. But we probably should expect a couple other surprises. When Trump was debating Clinton, he brought some of the women who accused Bill Clinton of rape and sexual assault. And that was that famous picture of Bill Clinton, like, looking at them. So Trump is definitely going to try and get under Joe Biden's skin by bringing people to the debate. And there will be an audience. So you will hear clapping, you will hear booing, you will hear laughing. Mike asks, is Joe bringing The Rock? He might. Joe might bring The Rock. If anyone doesn't know, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, endorsed Joe Biden this week.
That's
if you
just
care.
Terrible. That's terrible.
I don't care. I don't really care one way or another.
You hear that, Max?
Yeah, I hear it. It begins. Richard on YouTube says, "Hello, Joe. This is going to be great with you here. Nothing against Max." Yeah, I don't expect.
Gotcha,
I don't
Richard.
expect to have to get wheeled out of here. So if that's what you're here for, Joe might be the reason you're here. So if anyone doesn't know, we do have a drinking game. If Mr. Producer's there, if he's still there, let's put up. Is he there, Joe?
No, he'll be back. He'll be back in 1 minute. He went to go get.
Okay.
Because we have to start this with a shot.
If he, I don't have. I mean, I guess I could drink a little Jaeger. I have a little Jaeger.
No,
That's gonna ruin my night.
Just call your wife and say, "Hey, bring me a shot glass."
Well, my wife's not here. My wife's with my son. My
wow.
in-laws are in town, so they're off in another town swimming. They went swimming, so they're not here right now. I'm home alone, so I cannot just yell down.
So Richard,
my
Richard
wife
said I need to adjust my mic. Am I adjusting it because I'm too loud or I'm not loud enough?
The complaint always seems to be that Joe isn't loud. Now they're saying that Joe is too loud.
Oh.
Okay, so when Mr. Producer
Turn me
gets
down
back
just a
from
little
running
bit. He's here.
Joe's errands, he'll be able to turn him down.
All right, can you hear me now? Am I okay? Am I too loud now? Am I okay now?
You yell too much.
I do yell too much. You can turn me down a little bit.
Joe, you need to learn the age-old practice of moving away from the mic when you get louder.
Yes.
I know about that.
The louder you get, the farther away from the mic you want to get.
Well, the more I
So
drink,
we got more
this
people
mic
on-
might be in the next room by the time this whole thing ends. Oh, what do we got here?
I don't care about this woman. She's just testing. She's just probably telling them to be quiet. She's not even wearing formal attire. I don't consider her to be anyone special. Little do I know she's probably like the chairman of presidential
I'm
debates.
muffled, it says. Sound good. Am I muffled, Tim? Or am I just been drinking too much already?
It's not a good sign to be slurring your words before it starts.
Come on, you're killing
Everyone's
me.
saying you're good.
I'm good. All right.
Everyone's saying it was sarcasm. So, Joe, what are you looking forward to seeing tonight?
I'm looking.
Oh, sure
forward-
enough. Yeah, she is the president of the commission. What are you looking forward to tonight, Joe?
I'm looking forward. I mean, personally, looking forward to him shitting himself. I'm looking forward to the fact that he's gonna have to take several. Walk over, look like Nader a little bit.
There's no breaks. There's no breaks. You mean Nadler? Nadler when he did that little waddle?
Nadler, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to, on top of all that, I'm looking forward to the Depends starting to droop. You know, on both sides,
So
it's just gonna start drooping.
So we said this at the start that Joe Biden had asked for 2 breaks, a break every 30 minutes, and the Trump campamping refused it.
I got
What's
you,
going on?
Chris. Didn't know it was Nadler.
Oh, that's the Depends.
That's the Depends. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're freaking me out. All right. Mr. Producer, let's go ahead and put on the debate rules again, the drinking game rules for people who are just joining us now. These are the rules. Now, these are not designed for you to end this debate sober. They're just not. It's not the way this rule is designed. So let's go ahead and put these on the screen before we miss any important. They're just going to be talking about how glorious the debates are. So the official Conservative Daily first presidential debate drinking game. Again, we're going to take a shot. If Joe Biden even shows up, he gets the participation trophy just for showing up. You're going to take a sip if Joe Biden says, "Come on, man. You know the thing. I'm the guy who, folks, this president, malarkey. The matter of fact is, look, Obama," or if he says something that's just genuinely confusing. You're also going to take a little sip if Donald Trump says best, amazing, great, or greatest, perfect, America first. If he says something about Biden, like how he doesn't even know he's alive, if he uses the words unsolicited ballots, Obama, or Hunter, where's Hunter? Let's scroll down. You're going to take a gulp, and we define a gulp as 2 to 3 sips. It's just a little bit bigger than a sip. If Chris Wallace says, "I have to stop you there," if he tries to fact check one of the candidates, if Joe Biden makes up a word, apologizes for talking too long, it looks genuinely lost, that's going to be a basic honor system. If he refuses to answer a question, if he says something that's just definitely racist, or if he forgets what he's saying, and you're going to take a little bit of a bigger sip, a gulp. If Donald Trump says fake news, if he criticizes Chris Wallace, if he says the number 47, which will be Joe Biden's been in office 47 years, I've been in office 47 months. When that sentence comes, that's a double gulp, that sentence. If Donald Trump makes you laugh, if he says China, if he says huge, or if he uses one of his patented nicknames about anyone, And then you're going to have to finish your drink if Donald Trump mentions that Joe Biden is suffering from mental decline, if Donald Trump challenges Biden to a drug test, if Joe Biden says or does something creepy, again, honor system, if Joe Biden starts rambling and tells an unrelated story like when black children used to rub his leg hair, if Joe Biden claims millions of Americans have died from something, you just know that's not true, or if Joe Biden's eye starts spontaneously bleeding, and I expect you to run around your house and drink every single ounce of alcohol you own, if Joe Biden pisses or craps himself on stage, or if Donald Trump pulls out a full specimen cup to prove he has already taken a drug test. Now, those are the things that probably will not happen, but in the event they do, we're just partying. It's just going to be a party. We hope they don't happen, but if they do, you got to drink everything. So again, we're going to remind everyone, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that share button on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like, a thumbs up, and leave some comments. And on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.
Ting, you got to share this. I mean, if you're going to share anything, you got to share this. Why would you not share this? I might drink an entire bottle of Weller. This is a special reserve. This is a nice bottle. What? Good booze, man. Oh, it is. But I'm counting on him crapping himself. So I wanted to make sure if I had to swallow an entire bottle of anything, it was good, right? So.
Well, it's not. If he craps himself, it's not swallow the bottle. You have to swallow every single bit of alcohol in the building that you're in.
I'm gonna be catatonic, but it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna like it.
Like I was strategic this time. Last time I brought a really big bottle of Jaeger. This time I brought a little bitty bottle of Jaeger.
Max, I know how much alcohol you have in your house, so you're not gonna worry this. If he craps himself, you are big bottle. Absolutely in big trouble.
I still have the big bottle. I'm not gonna lie. I just brought the little bottle because I think it's cute.
Well,
so let me know in the comment section what you guys think about the drinking game rules. What this is mostly going to become is you guys keeping us honest, because as we're watching the debate, there will probably be times where we forget or miss something. Most of the comment section ends up being just reminding us that you're supposed to drink. You missed a shot. You missed a sip. So definitely do that. And again, if we get some trolls, be on the troll patrol.
Yeah, hey,
that's where if you see someone who's a troll.
Bren says that he's actually going to drink seltzer water. That's fine, Bren. Stay safe. We're going to drink all the alcohol in the country, it seems like. We're going to have to go back. We're going to have to go way back to the store and actually get more when this is all over.
Yeah, KT says I have a backup bottle, which is right. I do. I have a couple backup bottles. At any given moment, I'm never more than a couple arms reach away from Jaeger. It's a very strange way to live. But people saying that you probably have a cot ready, hopefully. Sherry says, keep a saline drip on ready for Joe. Joe's not driving. I'm in my home, so I don't need to drive. I'll crawl to bed if I have to. But
Renee's going to drink water. Hey, you could die from
may,
drinking too much water, too.
If I may, I am Joe's designated driver. So don't worry about his safety, ladies and gentlemen.
Sherry just said shared 9 places. Thank you, Sherry. Again, if you haven't already, hit that share button, give us a like. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and not speak too much during the debate, because obviously that's what we're all here for. We'll chime in if there's something that's crazy that we just have to say that's BS or whatever. But we're going to try and not. Yeah. We also do have this time, just like our RNC and DNC, we have a sip counter, which we're going to do our best to keep track of. We might fall short, but it's just a little interactive thing where I can add sips every time.
Oh my gosh! You already said 3. Hold
yeah,
on. That was said 3. Hold on.
Well, no, I was showing you that it moves. No. Whoa. No, whoa.
Hey, look, you can't take it back. There's no take backs.
Well, guys, no, okay, so here we go. Joe. Yeah, Joe, you got to regurgitate it back into the bottle. We're at -3. I was just showing that it's possible. Richard is asking on YouTube, can I call in? We don't have the call-in number live now, but we will take. No, because everyone wants to watch the debate, so we're not going to take calls. But we will be tomorrow talking about it, and the phone lines will be open for everyone.
But we got 12 minutes to the debate. Let's take a couple calls. Why not? Oh.
Okay, we can take a call if someone wants to call in. What's it, Josh? 888-441-1121.
Yeah, we can take a call.
All right, if anyone wants to call,
1121.
Well,
if you want to call, you can call.
Yeah,
Richard, you can call. We'll let you call, Richard.
Call in, Richard. You better have beer. No water for you.
So this is a little test. I added drinking game to the title on Facebook, and I was concerned that they might block us, but actually we're getting some of the best viewership we've gotten since we started being throttled. So how does that work? I have no clue.
We're going to put drinking game as the first. That's what we're going to do,
yeah.
people. Just so you know, from now on, we will start every episode with drinking game.
Yeah.
Yes, why not? Yeah,
Well,
we'll just
one
say
thing
it.
I do,
mean, you know,
I do want to do one of these debates. I do want to do it, make it a hot wing thing. Where
Max-
as the debate progresses, we eat wings that are hotter and hotter and hotter, kind of like that show Hot Ones on YouTube.
Yeah.
I want to do one of the debates like that, where we just eat insanely hot wings and we suffer for the views.
So Rhonda just asked, how long have you and Joe been friends, Max? We've been friends for 6-7 years, right? 6 years?
Yeah, it's November 1st, 2013.
Yeah. So
Well, we
7
aren't
years.
friends, but I knew of you.
Oh yeah.
I knew of you November 1st, 2013.
Now we're friends. Actually, I can't
yeah.
even know if I can. He doesn't claim me, obviously.
But yeah, we first met in November 1st, 2013. I was canvassing, walking door to door for frickin' Chris Christie in New Jersey, and got a job working with Joe, and promptly quit my job walking door to door because I didn't want to put the miles on my shoes anymore.
All right, we have Daniel on the phone. Daniel, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
How you doing?
Fine, thank you. I was just wanted to ask some obvious questions. The same thing my neurologist asked me when he suspected I'd have the brain damage. But, you know, things like, what's my name? Do you know who the vice president is? You know, what did you eat for breakfast? What was the first question I asked you?
Can you real quick
down your radio,
mute
please?
the mute our show because we're hearing it in the echo.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think that's a good thing. Honestly, Joe Biden's such a liar. I think Trump could come at him with something like, "Hey Joe, what did you eat for breakfast yesterday?" And Joe Biden would have no idea. But he's such a good liar. He might be able to pull it off.
You never know.
He might say Jill. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Do you have any children? Do you remember their names? You know.
Just basic.
Well, he doesn't remember how
conversation.
many grandkids he has. He doesn't remember how
Yeah,
many grandkids he has. He always gives a different number.
But yeah, little things like that. You know, the same things that he won't take the test on. You know, is your cognitive ability. Can you
Yeah.
remember what the first question I asked you was?
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah. No.
Are you asking me?
Absolutely.
I can't.
Well, no. I think that Donald Trump would be very smart to put in some of those questions of just like, Joe, how many fingers am I holding up? Like, Joe, what's your favorite animal? Like really easy questions like that are designed to test someone's cognitive functions that Joe Biden refuses to take.
Where did you sleep last night?
At home.
Yeah.
His basement.
in his basement, Daniel. In his basement.
Likely, you know. But if he was on the road and in a hotel room, you know, what was the name of the hotel?
Just
Yeah.
basic conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
pieces.
Basic questions like that. Before we let you go, Daniel, what's your prediction for the debate? Do you think Trump's going to come out swinging, or do you think he's trying and take a hands-off approach?
I think he's going to be Trump, and I think that Biden is going to stumble and fall.
Woo! Let's go. Stumble,
Hopefully.
stumble.
Well, thank you for the call. And maybe we'll open up the phone lines after. too.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. We'll open up the phone lines after for people to call in.
Because I will have to
this is a
sober
great
up
call.
for sure.
We got a couple more minutes. So if one other person, I guess, wants to call, 888-441-1121. Great call. We can probably take one more. I don't really care what Barbara Snyder is having to say. She's talking about the importance of having this at Case Western Reserve University. They were the backup university because Notre Dame didn't want to do it. I believe Notre Dame was his first one, and they said they didn't want to do it. I mean, they have no problem hosting football games, but they didn't want to do the debate. Too dangerous for COVID. Too dangerous. So Case Western is coming in as the reserve location.
But watch
I don't really
Biden
care what she
show
has
up
to
at
say.
that reserve location.
Watch him show up at Notre Dame.
What's happening? Why am I here? Where is everybody?
Yeah. So the other thing is there will probably be a 1 second delay between what Joe sees and what I see. 1.5 second. We tried to get it down as low as possible when we were doing the prep for this.
What's the debate starts in? 7:18? 717, 716.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, so from you, I'm getting the same thing from you. The problem is when I talk back to you, that's what ends up being a half second to a second delay.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I think you're just developing delayed. So.
Yeah, I might have had a couple of strokes like Joe Biden has. That's entirely possible. Well, let's not forget, Joe Biden had 2 brain surgeries. Joe Biden's had 2 brain surgeries. And Mr. Producer, do we still have that clip ready to go of Joe Biden in 1991?
1991.
Do you have that? Do you think? Oh, who are these people? Oh, do you still have that clip, Mr. Producer? If we want to. Oh, here's the Trump's family's walking in. We'll play that afterwards. In 1991, Joe Biden actually made the prediction in I think 91 that he won't be alive by 2020. He'll be dead and gone. So we'll play that. That's an old C-SPAN clip that's been dredged up this week. So you have the Biden. There's Jill Biden, or as Joe likes to say, his husband Joe. We don't really know what that's all about. So the families are walking in. It's nice that there's going to be an audience. Joe Biden wanted it to be an empty stage. There's Chris Wallace. Okay, let's turn it up.
All right, turn it up. And by the way, my daughter is actually in the studio right now. She came to say hi.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hi, Micah.
Mr. Producer, can we turn that volume up?
Oh, come on now. We're not getting anything.
Oh, no. Josh. Everyone write in the comment section how disappointed in Josh you are at this very moment.
We didn't change a thing from earlier.
You muted it.
You muted it.
You muted it earlier. Come on, Josh. Everyone in the comment section, let us know how disappointed you are in Josh.
Josh. On the board, bro. On the board.
Oh, I'm so disappointed at this very moment. We'll get it fixed. We have 5 minutes.
Dude, you're
We have
killing
5
me.
minutes. But you do actually have a clock. You do actually have a countdown clock
Josh.
in which you have to fix this.
You're blowing my mind, Josh. Look, he is over here literally sweating bullets. You have no idea. He's
Is
come
this
on,
big moment?
man. Come on. All right, put the 1 sip up for Josh, please. Sip up for Josh.
Yeah, Josh taking a
Sip up
sip.
for Josh.
Because Josh didn't show up tonight. It was working a second ago. Oh, the comment section's not happy.
Oh, dude, it's like, Josh. Come on, Josh. ABC is doing better than Josh. C-SPAN is doing
Oh,
better
wait.
than Josh.
I am hearing from the comment section that this might just be C-SPAN forgot to turn the audio on. If it is, we're going to have to say sorry, Josh. Let's see. Let's see in a second.
C-SPAN having technical difficulties. Are you sure? Marcella, tell me, are you sure? The problem is with
I would much rather blame Josh.
Oh.
Yeah, no, C-SPAN has it quiet.
Suck it, nerds!
That's interesting.
Suck it. He just said suck it, nerds. Oh, look at him. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Everyone's
Yeah.
silent right now, so I don't know if this is just a deal with C-SPAN didn't turn up the volume. I still blame Josh. I'm not backtracking one bit. Josh's fault. We have to find a backup in
Brian
case C-SPAN
says, nope,
doesn't have
fired
audio.
anyway. You're fired.
Oh.
Oh.
Josh fixed it.
Josh fixed it. We'll give it to Josh.
All right, everyone say sorry, Josh. It wasn't Josh's fault. It was C-SPAN. Sorry, Josh. After everyone crucified Josh in the comment section, let's all say you're sorry.
ABC is working. Okay, we're all back. We're back, guys. All right, false alarm.
Oh, Melania wearing the mask. Fashion statement. Only one of the family wearing a mask. So we're going to try and be quiet during this. We're not going to make too many interjections. If something's complete BS, we'll call it out. But in return, please do hit that share button on Facebook if you haven't already. Please do like the video. Please do comment on YouTube. Please do give us a thumbs up. Please do hit the subscribe button if this is your first time on the show. And then hit the bell for notifications. Really do appreciate it a lot. Oh, the comments coming in. Sorry, Josh. So sorry, Josh.
It's still your fault, Josh.
Zach says it's still your fault.
I love that. Still your
Ladies and
fault.
gentlemen, you are all vicious, but I appreciate the love and the hate, so just keep on watching.
I'll take a sip for
I'll take a
the
sip for you.
misguided Josh hate.
The whiskey sip too.
But Josh, if you make another mistake, I'm gonna be very angry. Everyone's saying sorry. Oh my God, the comment section. Chrissy says that she never doubted you, so you still had one person.
I doubt him just a little bit. Come on, Chris, you gotta doubt him just a little itty bit.
Our other Josh is in the YouTube comments, and he said, "So sad with Josh. Epic fail." So again, drinking game. The rules are in the description.
What
Did I
are they
put them in the
drinking?
description?
Okay, so somebody just asked what I'm drinking. So it didn't start for a couple minutes, right? Is it starting?
Not
So
yet.
any of you out there that are bourbon aficionados know what this is, Weller. And then I brought a backup bottle because 750 milliliters isn't enough. Jefferson Ocean cast strength. So this is good stuff. Pretty good. And then, brought a little bit of beer. All right, you need to turn it up. Somebody's
And then,
talking.
and then I'm on the Champagne of Beers, Miller High Life. They're not sponsored. I just really
have
like it a lot.
Corona too, so.
Oh, you're Mexican. That's bad.
No, it's not. We have good relations. Do we have a wall with good
bad.
relations?
It's kind of bad,
It was made in
being honest.
Milwaukee.
probably. So I don't know what's going on here.
Mexican beer made in Milwaukee. Can't
Josh,
hear
are
you.
we live on C-SPAN? Okay, just want to make sure you didn't accidentally rewind when you were trying to figure out the volume situation.
Is it just
so we're just
quiet, or
waiting.
what?
If I had to guess, Joe Biden's probably trying to empty his bowels at this given moment. Trying
they're-
to hit
You know
up the
this-
bathroom.
You know the sponge that they have in the bathroom or in the kitchen? You got to squeeze all the water. Everything they're doing that, like pushing all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Teleprompter, but it's for Chris Wallace, so it's okay. Who wants to bet that Joe Biden looks at it at some point and reads from it?
Guys, what's happening?
Huh?
It already started
It's
on
C-SPAN.
Fox.
C-SPAN's just waiting. We're delayed. We're down a little bit. It's a couple second delay for us. Yeah, C-SPAN. In order to
From
use,
the
there
Health
we go.
Education
Okay.
campus of Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic. I'm Chris Wallace of Fox News, and I welcome you to the first of the 2020 presidential debates between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. The commission has designed the format, 6 roughly 15-minute segments with 2-minute answers from each candidate to the first question, then open discussion for the rest of each segment. Both campaigns have agreed to these rules. For the record, I decided the topics and the questions in each topic. I can assure you, none of the questions has been shared with the commission or the two candidates. This debate is being conducted under health and safety protocols designed by the Cleveland Clinic, which is serving
here.
as the health security advisor to the commission for all 4
Josh, can you
debates.
turn up the audio a little bit?
As a precaution, both campaigns have agreed the candidates will not shake hands at the beginning of tonight's debate. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent. No cheers, no boos or other interruptions, so we, and more importantly you, can focus on what the candidates have to say. No noise except right now, as we welcome the Republican nominee, President Trump, and the Democratic nominee, Vice President Biden.
All right, did he show up?
We got to do a shot if he shows up. I'll stand up for President Trump. Look, that's more people than have ever gone to a Biden event ever.
All right, I drank half of it. That has to count as a shot. Oh, that was bad.
Gentlemen, a lot of people have been waiting for this night, so let's get going. Our first subject is the Supreme Court. President Trump, you nominated Amy Coney Barrett over the weekend to succeed the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the court. You say the Constitution is clear about your obligation and the Senate's to consider a nominee to the court. Vice President Biden, you say that this is an effort by the president and Republicans to jam through an appointment and what you call an abuse of power. My first question to both of you tonight: why are you right in the argument you make and your opponent wrong? And where do you think a Justice Barrett would take the court? President Trump, in this first segment, you go first. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chris. I will tell you very simply, we won the election. Elections have consequences. We have the Senate, we have the White House, and we have a phenomenal nominee, respected by all, top academic, good in every way, good in every way. In fact, some of her biggest endorsers are very liberal people from Notre Dame and other places. So I think she's going to be fantastic. We have plenty of time, even if we did it after the election itself. I have a lot of time after the election, as you know. So I think that she will be outstanding. She's going to be as good as anybody that has served on that court. We really feel that. We have a professor at Notre Dame, highly respected by all, said she's the single greatest student he's ever had. He's been a professor for a long time at a great school. And we won the election, and therefore we have the right to choose
Greatest.
her. And very few people knowingly would say otherwise. And by the way, the Democrats, they wouldn't even think about not doing it. If they had, the only difference is they're trying to do it faster. There's no way they would give it up. They had Merrick Garland, but the problem is they didn't have the election, so they were stopped. And probably that would happen in reverse also. Definitely would happen in reverse. So we won the election, and we have the right to do it, Chris.
President Trump, thank you. Same question to you, Vice President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this, and looking forward to this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Joe.
The American people have a right to have a say in who the Supreme Court nominee is, and that say occurs when they vote for a United States senators and when they vote for the President of the United States. They're not going to get that chance now because we're in the middle of an election already. The election has already started. Tens of thousands of people have already voted. And so the thing that should happen is we should wait. We should wait and see what the outcome of this election is, because that's the only way the American people get to express their view, is by who they elect as president and who they elect as vice president. Now, what's at stake here is the president's made it clear he wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. He's been running on that, he ran on that, and he's been governing on that. He's in the Supreme Court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which will strip 20 million people from having insurance, health insurance now, if it goes into court. And the justice, and I have nothing, I'm not opposed to the justice, she seems like a very fine person. But she's written before she went on the bench, which is her right, that she thinks that the Affordable Care Act is not constitutional. The other thing that's on the court, and if it's struck down, what happens? Women's rights are fundamentally changed. Once again, a woman could be pay more money because she has a pre-existing condition of pregnancy. They were able to charge a woman more for the same exact procedure a man gets. And that ended when we, in fact, passed the Affordable Care Act. And there's 100 million people who have pre-existing conditions, and they'll be taken away as well. Those pre-existing conditions, the insurance companies are going to love this. And so it's just not appropriate to do this before this election. If he wins the election and the Senate is Democrat or Republican, then he goes forward. If not, we should wait until February.
All right. There aren't 100 million people with pre-existing conditions. As far as the say is concerned, the people already had their say.
That's a lie. Take a sip.
Okay. Justice Ginsburg said very powerfully, very strongly, at some point, 10 years ago or so, she said a president and the Senate is elected for a period of time, but a president's elected for 4 years. We're not elected for 3 years. I'm not elected for 3 years. So we have the Senate, we have a president.
He's elected to the next
during
election.
that period of time, we have an opening. I'm not elected for 3 years. I'm elected for 4 years. And the 100 million people, Joe, the 100 million people is totally wrong. I don't know where you got that number. The bigger problem that you have is that you're going to extinguish 180 million people with their private health care that they're very
That's
happy with.
That's simply not true.
Well, you're certainly going to socialist. You're going to socialist medicine.
We're now into, gentlemen, we're now into open discussion.
Open discussion.
Open discussion. Yes, I agree. Go ahead, Vice President.
Number one, he he knows that what I proposed. What I proposed is that we expand Obamacare and we increase it. We do not wipe any. And one of the big debates we had with 23 of my colleagues trying to win the nomination that I won, we're saying that Biden wanted to allow people to have private insurance still. They can. They do. They will under my proposal.
It's not what you've said,
But
and it's not what your party has said.
That is simply
your party
a lie.
doesn't say it. Your party wants to go socialist medicine.
My party is
and
me.
socialist
right
healthcare.
now, I am
and
the
they're going to
Democratic
dominate
Party.
you, Joe. You know that.
I am the Democratic Party right now. The platform of the
Not according
Democratic
to
Party
Harris.
is what I,
Where's
in
my
fact,
sips?
approved of. What I approved of.
Not
Now, here's the
according to
deal.
Harris.
The deal is that it's going to wipe out pre-existing conditions. And by the way, the 200,000 people that have died on his watch, how many of those have survived? Well, there's 7 million people that contracted COVID. What does it mean for them going forward if you strike down the Affordable Care Act?
Joe, you've had
pre-existing
308,000 military people dying because you couldn't provide them proper health care in the military. So don't tell me
I'm
about
happy
this.
to talk about
And
this.
if you were here,
Look,
it
here's
wouldn't
the
be
deal.
200, it would be 2 million people because you were very late on the draw. You
Late
didn't
on
want
the
me to
draw.
ban China, which was heavily infected. You didn't want me to ban
All right, gentlemen,
Europe,
we're-
which
no,
was heavily
Mr.
infected.
President,
You would have been much
President,
later, Joe.
Mr.
Much
President,
later.
Mr.
He's
President,
wetting
about 2
himself
million
right now.
people.
You're not going to be able
President,
to
as
shut
the
him up.
moderator, we are going to talk about COVID in the next segment, but go ahead.
Let me finish. The point is
What?
that
How does
the
he get to
president
finish?
also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court. In the court. And so that's
ballot.
also at stake
He lied.
right now.
I gotta sip more.
And so the election is already
You don't know it's on the
begun.
ballot.
I-
Why is it on the ballot?
Because
Why is
you
it on the
said
ballot? It's not
you're-
on the ballot.
It's on the ballot in the
I
court.
don't think so.
In the court. Well,
There's nothing happening there.
Donald, would you
And you
just
don't
be quiet
know
for a
her
minute?
view on Roe v. Wade. You
I
don't
don't
know her
know.
view.
Well, all right, let's talk.
I got to
got a
sit
lot
just
to
because he
unpack
just
here,
beat
gentlemen. We
his
got a lot of
ass.
time, so-
He was like, spiggity, spiggity,
on
spiggity. Add
health
another one of
care,
that.
and then we'll come back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court will hear a case a
am
week
gonna be
after
so
the
drunk.
election in which the Trump administration, along with 18 state attorneys general, are seeking to overturn
That's right.
Obamacare, to end Obamacare. You have spent the last...
Because they want to give good health care.
If I may ask
ahead.
my question, sir.
Good health care.
Over the last 4 years, you have promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, but you have never in these 4 years come up with a plan, a comprehensive plan
Yes,
to
I have.
replace Obamacare.
Of course I have.
Well, I'll
I
give
got
you an
rid of
opp-
the
I'm gonna-
individual
when I finish,
mandate.
I'm going to give you an
Excuse
opportunity.
me. I got rid of the individual mandate, which was a
That
big
is not a
chunk of
comprehensive
That
plan.
is absolutely a big thing. That was the worst
I
part of
didn't ask,
Obamacare.
Sir.
Chris,
You're
that was the
debating
worst
shut
part
up
of
me.
Obamacare.
Let me ask my question.
Well, I'll ask Joe.
The
The individual
no,
mandate was the most unpopular
Mr. Vice Pre-
aspect of
Mr.
Obamacare. I
President,
got rid of it.
I'd like
and
you
we
to,
will
Mr.
protect people
President,
with
I'm the
pre-existing
moderator of this
conditions.
debate.
Really?
I would like you to let me ask
Holy
my
crap.
question, and then you can answer your
ahead.
question. You, in the course of these 4 years, have never come up with a comprehensive plan
That's not true.
to replace
That's just false.
Obamacare.
I thought he's a
and
moderator.
just
Why is
this
he actually
last
going
McCain
after
killed
him?
it.
You signed a
McCain killed
largely
the bill.
symbolic executive order
quiet.
to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5
Yep,
days
Kay,
before
drink
this
it up.
debate. So my question, sir, is what is the Trump health care plan?
Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised. Let me just tell you something. There's nothing symbolic. I'm cutting drug prices. I'm going with favored nations, which no president has the courage to do because you're going against Big Pharma. Drug prices will be coming down 80 or 90%. You could have done it during your 47-year period in government, but you didn't do it.
47.
Nobody's
Nickel.
done it. So we're cutting health care.
What about
All of the
pre-existing
things that
conditions?
we've done,
He has not cut
insulin. I
health
give
care.
you an example. Insulin. It was destroying families, destroying people because I'm getting it for so cheap. It's like water, you want to know the truth. So cheap. Take a look at all of the drugs what we're doing, prescription drug prices. We're going to allow our governors now to go to other countries to buy drugs because
When in
they
fact-
pay just a tiny
As I
fraction.
say, this is open discussion.
No,
let
but
me
this
ask
is
you about,
big-
let me,
this
you'll
is
be happy,
big stuff.
sir. You'll be happy. I'm about to pick up on one of
Wow.
your points to ask the vice president, which is he points
He's
out
not the vice
that you
president.
would like to add a public option to Obamacare, and
Yes.
the argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
well, I can ask you the question. It will
Not
end.
what your party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can
black
get that
kids?
free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option. The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option, number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie Sanders, who's far left, on the manifesto, we call it.
Look,
And that
manifesto.
gives you socialized medicine.
Look, hey,
Are you saying
I'm not
you
going
didn't
to
agree?
listen to him. The fact of the matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I beat him the whole hell. I'm here standing facing you, buddy.
Pocahontas would have left 2 days
I tell
early.
you-
You would have lost every
Pocahontas
prize.
nickname.
He knows how to do
It was
it.
Tuesday. You got
Look,
very lucky.
here's the deal. I got very lucky. I'm going to get very lucky tonight as well. And tonight I'm going to
With
make
what?
sure, because
With what?
here's the deal. Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody
didn't say
knows he's a
anything yet.
liar.
But you
I just
agreed.
want to
Hey,
make
wait,
sure.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
He doesn't know how to do that. He has,
You'd
you
be
know,
surprised.
you pick
You'd be surprised.
the
Go ahead,
wrong
Joe.
guy,
Go,
the
go,
wrong
Joe,
night at
go.
the wrong time.
Listen, you agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders to the
The
manifesto.
whole idea.
Let
Now you're
him.
disavowing it.
There is no manifesto, number
Please
one.
let him speak, Mr.
Number
President.
two.
You just lost the left.
Number two.
This is
You just lost
chaos.
the left.
This is
You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan.
Folks,
that's absolutely
folks,
agreed
do you have
to,
any
and under that
idea
plan,
what
you have
this clown's
socialized,
doing?
They call it
Mr.
Medicare.
you have any
President.
do?
Socialized medicine.
Mr.
Well, I
President.
tell you what, he is not for any help for people needing health care. Because because he, in fact, already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two,
yeah.
there are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
No, I want to give
Number
them better
three.
health care at a
But-
much lower price
but-
because
and by the way, he
Obamacare
doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a
fixed
plan.
it to an extent.
He has never
Obamacare,
done a
as
single
you might
thing.
know, but probably don't.
But,
Obamacare
Gentlemen, you
is
realize
no
if you're
good,
both
Joe.
speaking at the
It's
same
no good,
time-
and it's
Yeah,
too
but they haven't let
the
Trump
president-
talk at all.
Go ahead, sir.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better. And I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guarantee pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed, that they shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well or badly? If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame
I
me. But
love
more
Trump.
importantly, I want to help people, okay? I said, you got to run it so well.
That's what he's
And I
known for.
just had a meeting with them. They said the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive.
I got it.
Premiums
I
are
got
too
it.
high, and
That's
it
what his
doesn't work.
people- that's
So
what his people
we
have said.
do
No,
want to
no,
get
no.
rid of it.
It's
Chris,
an
we
open
want to get rid of it.
I
and
understand
give
it, sir,
something
but I
that's
have
cheaper
to
and
give you
better.
roughly equal time.
Good.
Please let the vice president talk.
Good.
He has no plan for health care. Of
course we do.
Please.
He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been
He's a
promising a
liar.
health care
False.
plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. And the fact is, this man doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right.
He's
I have
against it.
one final question for you,
Sure.
Mr. Vice President. If Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, if Senate Republicans go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett, there has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak.
He refused to
you
answer
should
the
go
question.
out
Take a
and
step.
vote.
Won't answer it.
You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how
Are you gonna
strongly
pack
you
the
feel.
court?
Vote now.
gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't wanna
you're
answer the
senators.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the
You wanna
question
put a lot of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justices,
the
radical
question-
left.
Would you
Who
shut
is
up,
on,
man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Oh,
This
man.
is on your
Got
list.
it.
Gentlemen,
Got it.
I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the court.
We have
I'm not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
Oh, yeah.
That was really a
Saved by the
productive
bell.
segment, wasn't it?
Saved by the bell.
Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They sure do.
47 years you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The second
47
subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject, so let's try to be serious about it. We have
Biden
had
is
more
going
than
to piss
7
himself, and I'm
million
gonna be
cases
catatonic,
of
just so we're
coronavirus
clear.
in the United States, and more than 200,000 people have died. Even after we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or even years before we come back to anything approaching normal. My question for both of you is, based on what you have said and done so far and what you have said you would do starting in 2021, why should the American people trust you more than your opponent to deal with this public health crisis going forward? In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Good luck. 200,000 dead. As you said, over 7 million infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 5%, 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths. 40,000 people a day are contracting COVID. In addition to that, about between 750 and 1,000 people a day are dying. When he was presented with that number, he said, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is. The president has no plan. He hasn't laid out anything. He knew all the way back in February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people. You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to that, what did he do? He went in and we were insisting that the Chinese, the people we had on the ground in China should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was. He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told us what a great job Xi was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing. He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan. I laid out back in March exactly what we should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open schools. It costs a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
So if we would have listened to you.
You have 2 minutes, sir.
If we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand. But if you look at what we've done, I closed it, and you said he's xenophobic. He's a racist, and he's xenophobic because you didn't think I should have closed our country. Wait a minute.
It says 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said, President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of your Democrat governors said, President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators. And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they get sick. Far fewer people are dying. We've done a great job. The only thing I haven't done a good job, and that's because of the fake news. No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it. It's just fake news. They give you good press. They give me bad press because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care. I've gotten used to it. But I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the job that we did. You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job
Well, you
done.
didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no
very-
economic recession.
Sir, you made a
Far
no,
less
there was no
lethal
recession.
disease,
you made
by
a
the way.
point. Let him answer.
And there was no one, we didn't shut down the economy. This is his economy he's shut down. The reason it's shut down is because, look, you folks at home, how many of you got up this morning and had an empty chair at the kitchen table because someone died of COVID? How many of you were in a situation where you lost your mom or dad and you couldn't even speak
You
to
don't know,
a
'cause they
nurse
lie
holding
about
the
that.
phone up so you could, in fact, say goodbye?
You would have lost far
How
more
many
people. Far
That is-
more people.
And,
you would have been
and by the way,
months late.
your own,
You were
his,
months
his
behind
own
me,
his
Joe.
own CDC director says we could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year. And he held up. He said, if we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers. Just a mask. And by the way, in terms of the whole notion of a vaccine. We're for a vaccine, but I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't. What we trust is a scientist.
You don't
we
trust
Dr.
Johnson
Fauci.
& Johnson, Pfizer?
And
Okay,
by the way,
gentlemen, let me move on to questions about the future, because you both have touched on two of the questions I'm going to ask. Focusing on the future first, President Trump, you have repeatedly either contradicted or been at odds with some of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public. You said that he was confused and mistaken. Those were your two words.
Yeah.
But Dr. Slaoui, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies, and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives.
God.
It is a very political thing. I've spoken to Pfizer. I've spoken to all of the people that you have to speak to. We have great Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and others. They can go faster than that by a
Kodak.
lot. Become very
Kodak.
political because the left, or I don't know if I call them
you're
left, I don't know
suggesting
what I
that
call
the head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Slaoui...
I disagree with him. Yeah, no, I disagree with both of them. And he didn't say that. He said it could be there, but it could also be much sooner. I had him in my office 2 days ago.
He talked about the summer, sir, before it's generally available. Just like
He
Dr.
said it's a
Redfield.
possibility that we'll have
the end of
the
Q1.
answer before
This is false.
November 1st. It could also
I'm
be
talking
after
about when it's
that.
generally available. not when
Well,
it'll
we're
be.
going to deliver it right away. We have the military all set up. Logistically, they're all set up. We have our military that delivers soldiers, and they can do 200,000 a day. They're going to be
This
delivering
is the
the
same
vaccine.
man
It's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
by Easter this would be gone away. By the warm
That's
weather
not
it'd
what
be
he said.
gone.
That's a
Miraculous,
lie.
like a
That's a
miracle.
lie.
And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This
That's
is the
just
same
That was
man.
said sarcastically,
that was
and you
him.
know that.
I
That was said sarcastically.
And so here's the deal. This man is talking about a vaccine. Every serious company is talking about maybe having a vaccine done by the end of the year. But the distribution of that vaccine will not occur until sometime beginning or the middle of next year to get it out.
false.
If we get
That's
the
false.
vaccine. And pray God
just
we
false.
will.
Look, my
Pray
hair
God we will.
Mr. Vice
Mike,
President, I want to pick up
You'll have
on
the
that.
vaccine
I
sooner
want to
than
pick
that.
up on this question, though. You say the public
just false.
can trust the scientists, but they can't trust President Trump. In fact, you said that again tonight. Your running mate, Senator Harris, goes further, saying the public health experts, quote, will be muzzled, will be suppressed. Given the fact that
You mean
polls
like every
already
other one?
show
Yeah.
that people are concerned about the vaccine and are reluctant to take it, are you and your running mate, Senator Harris, contributing to that fear?
No more than the question you just asked him. You pointed out. He puts pressure and disagrees with his own scientists.
But you're saying you
Everybody
can't, or
knows.
Senator
And-
Harris is saying
no,
you can't trust the scientists.
No, you can trust the scientists. She didn't say that. You can't trust
She
the
said the public health
Did say
experts,
that.
quote, will be muzzled, will
yes.
be suppressed.
Well, that's what he's going to try to do. But there's millions of scientists, there's thousands of scientists out there, like here at this great hospital, that don't work for him. Their job doesn't depend on him. That's not. They're the people. And by
I
the way,
spoke to the
and
scientists
Fauci,
that are in charge.
By the way,
they will have
and
the vaccine very
does-
soon.
Let him finish.
Do you believe for a moment what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID? He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. He panicked or he just looked at the stock market. One of the
A lie.
two, because guess what? A lot of people died. And a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So-
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing.
Let's add this
There's
to
like a
And if you would have
flamethrower
had,
in the
let me
room.
just tell you something, Joe.
No,
If you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built
Greatest.
again.
Take a
See,
second.
it's
We're going to
going
get
up
to the
fast.
economy in the next segment, sir.
Okay.
It's going up fast.
Okay.
Look forward to talking.
When it comes to how the virus has been handled so far, the two of you have taken very different approaches, and this is going to affect how the virus is handled going forward by whichever of you ends up becoming the next president. I want to quickly go through several of those. Reopenings. Vice President Biden, you have been much more reluctant than President Trump about reopening the economy and schools. Why, sir?
Because he doesn't have a plan. If I were running, I'd know what the plan is. You've got to provide these businesses the ability to have the money to be able to reopen with the PPE as well as with the sanitation they need. You have to provide
that
them
to Nancy
plastic.
Pelosi.
Well,
Who's that?
shush for a minute.
Tell it to Nancy
You know,
Pelosi. And Schumer,
by the
Brian
way,
Chuck.
Nancy Pelosi and
Brian
Schumer,
Chuck, take
they
a
have a
sip.
plan.
Ah,
He
shit.
won't even meet with them. The Republicans won't meet with him in the
Okay.
Senate.
But-
And he sits on his golf course. And, I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably play
Think
more than
about
I
it.
do, Joe.
What about this
He can't
question of
play golf.
reopenings and the fact
Well, he wants to shut down this country. And I want to keep it open. And we
You
did a
get-
great
he just
thing by
admitted
shutting
he
it
shut
down.
it down.
Wait a minute,
Let
Joe.
him
Let me
finish,
shut
sir.
you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second. We wanted.
Drink,
He wants
because-
to shut down the country. We
I
just
mean,
went through
I
it.
didn't
We had to
eat.
because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly people with heart problems and diabetes and different problems are very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young children aren't. Even younger people aren't. We've learned a lot. But he wants to shut it down. More people will be hurt by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons they're shut down is because they want to keep it shut down until after the election
All right,
on November
I want to
3rd.
move on to another
because
subject.
it's a
I want to move
political
on to another
I've got to
subject.
respond.
But those states,
gentlemen, I
those
want to move
states
on to
are
another
not
subject,
doing well that are shut down
which is
right
gotta
now.
respond to that.
Wants
President
to shut
Trump,
down the
you
whole
have
country.
begun to increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning
No, I think
the
masks
efficacy
are
of
okay.
of
You have
masks?
to understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to. But I
Just
wear
like your
masks
rallies.
when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say,
Vice President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to open. We provided money. The Congress.
But I was asking you, sir, about masks.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also
It
said the
matters.
opposite. They've
And
also said
no serious person said the opposite.
They've
No
also said- Well, look at-
serious
all right, I
person.
wanna
Dr.
ask you-
Fauci. Dr. Fauci said the
He
opposite.
did not
I
say
want to
the
ask you, we
opposite.
got a
said
little
very
bit more than a
strongly,
minute left in this
masks
segment.
are not good. Then he changed his mind. He said masks are good.
I
I'm
wanna
okay
ask-
with masks.
I
I'm
want to
not
ask you
fighting
both about
masks.
one last subject, because your different approaches has even affected the way that you have campaigned. President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people.
Outside.
Packed.
Outside, yes, sir. Agreed.
Packed.
Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller
Five people.
events
Because
with
nobody will show up.
people with masks.
That's true. Nobody shows up to his
Hey,
event.
drink.
In any
Everybody,
case, why
drink.
you holding the big rallies? Why you not? You go first, sir.
Because people want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
But are you
I've
not
done a
worried
great
about it
job
spreading
as a
disease?
president, and I'll have 35,000 people show up at airports. We use airports.
Are you
and
not worried
hangars,
about
and we
the
have a
disease
lot of
issue,
people.
sir?
Well, so far we have had no problem whatsoever. It's outside. That's a big difference, according to the experts. And we do them outside. We have tremendous crowds, as you see. I mean, and literally on 24 hours' notice. And Joe does the circles and has 3 people someplace.
Okay.
By the way, did you see
Good, sir.
one of the last big rallies he has? And a reporter came up to him to ask him a question. He said, no, stand back. Put on your mask. Put on a mask. Have you been tested? I'm way far away from those other people. That's what he said. I can't. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing in one another.
We've had no negative effect.
No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect. And we've had 35, 40,000 people at these rallies.
Just quickly finish up because I want to move on to our next.
Yes, I would. He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraged them not to.
All right.
He's a fool.
If you could get the crowds, you would have done the same thing. But you can't. Nobody cares.
Gentlemen, can we move on to the economy? Gentlemen, can we move on to the economy?
Yes.
The economy is, I think it's fair to say, recovering faster than expected from the shutdown.
Than expected?
In the second quarter. The unemployment rate fell to 8.4% last month.
Shit, I'm
the
behind.
Federal
6.
Reserve says the hit to growth, which is going to be there, is not going to be nearly as big as they had expected. President Trump, you say we are in a V-shaped recovery. Vice President Biden, you say it's more of a K-shape. What difference does that mean to the American people in terms of the economy? President Trump, in this segment, you go first.
So we built the greatest economy in history. We closed it down because of the China plague. When the plague came in, we closed it down, which was very hard psychologically to do. He didn't think we should close it down, and he was wrong. And again, 2 million people would be dead now instead of still 204,000 people is too much. 1 person is too much. Should have never happened from China. But what happened is we closed it down, and now we're reopening, and we're doing record business. We had 10.4 million people in a 4-month period that we've put back into the workforce. That's a record the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And he wants to close down he will shut it down again. He will destroy this country. You know, a lot of people, between drugs and alcohol and depression, when you start shutting it down, you take a look at what's happening at some of your Democrat-run states where they have these tough shutdowns. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't want to open it. One of them came out last week. You saw that. Oh, we're going to open up on November 9th. Why November 9th? Because it's after the election. They think they're hurting us by keeping them closed. They're hurting people. People know what to do. They can social distance. They can wash their hands. They can wear masks. They can do whatever they want. But they got to open these states up. When you look at North Carolina, when you look, and these governors are under siege, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of others, you got to open these states up. It's not fair. You're talking about almost it's like being in prison. And you look at what's going on with divorce, look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's a very, very sad thing. And he'll close down the whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.
All right. Your 2 minutes, sir. We're now moved to you. As I said, posing the question, the president says it's a V-shaped recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery.
What the hell is a K-shape?
The difference is
some people are going down.
Millionaires and billionaires like him in the middle of the COVID crisis have done very well. Billionaires have made another $300 billion because of his profligate tax proposal, and he only focused on the market.
We're going to take a drink for that.
But you folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the small towns and working class towns in America, how well are you doing? This guy paid a total of $750 in taxes.
Sir, wait, no. Sir, it's just
wrong statement.
Yeah, I understand. You've agreed to the 2 minutes, so please let him have it.
Do I get my time back? The fact is that he has, in fact, worked on this in a way that he's going to be the first president of the United States to leave office having fewer jobs in his administration than when he became president. Fewer jobs than when he became president. First one in American history. Secondly, the people who have lost their jobs are those people who have been on the front lines, those people who have been saving our lives, those people who have been out there dying, people who've been putting themselves in the way to make sure that we could all try to make it. And the idea that he is insisting that we go forward and open when you have almost half the states in America with a significant increase in COVID deaths and COVID cases in the United States of America. And he wants to open it up more. Why does he want to open it up? Why doesn't he take care of the American? You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for you all at home in terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why aren't schools open? Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely. You know, they were going to give, his administration was going to give the teachers and school students masks. And then they decided, no, couldn't do that because it's not a national emergency. Not a national emergency. They've done nothing to help small businesses. Nothing. They're closing. 1 in 6 is now gone. He ought to get on the job and take care of the needs of the American people so we can open safely.
All right. Your time is up, sir. Well, we are going to get to...
I have to respond to that.
Well, you both had 2 minutes, sir.
Excuse me, he made a statement.
So did you.
People want their schools, people want their schools open. They don't want to be shut down. They don't want their state shut down. They want their restaurants. I look at New York. It's so sad what's happening in New York. It's almost like a ghost town, and I'm not sure it can ever recover what they've done in New York. People want their places open. They want to get back to their lives. They'll be careful, but they want their schools open.
Okay.
I'm the one that brought back football. By the way, I brought back Big Ten football. It was me, and I'm very happy to do it. And
all right,
people of Ohio are very proud of me. And you know how I found out? When he took
gentlemen,
the phony
we're going to
ad.
get to your economic plans going forward in a moment. But first, Mr. President, as you well know, there's a new report that in 2016, the year you were elected president, and 2017, your first year as president, that you paid $750 a year in federal income tax each of those years. I know that you pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers.
Show us your tax
I paid $38 million 1 year. I paid $27 million
Show us your
1
tax
year.
returns.
I went... you'll see it as soon as it's finished. You'll see it. You know, if you want to go to the Board of Elections. There's a 118-page or so report that says everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under-leveraged because the assets are extremely good, and we have a very, I built
Sir,
a great
I'm asking
company.
you a specific question, which
But
is...
let me tell you...
I understand all of that. I understand all of that.
But let me answer
no,
the question.
Mr. President, I'm asking you a question. Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars.
So
yes.
not 750?
Millions of dollars, and you'll get to see it. And you'll get to see it. But let me just tell you, Chris, let me just tell you something, that it was the tax laws. I don't want to pay tax. Before I came here, I was a private developer. I was a private business people. Like every other private person, unless they're stupid, they go through the laws, and that's what it is. He passed a tax bill that gave us all these privileges for depreciation and for tax credits. We built the building and we get tax credits like the hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue. You get a massive, which, by the way, was given to me by the Obama administration, if you can believe that.
You're welcome.
Now, the man got fired right after that happened. But
Vice President Biden, you want to respond?
Yeah, I do want to
You get to
respond.
finish.
Look, the tax code that made him, put him in a position that he pays less tax than a school teacher makes on the money a school teacher makes is because of him he says he's smart because he can take advantage of the tax code. And he does take advantage of the tax code. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. And I'm going to eliminate those tax cuts and make sure that we invest in the people who, in fact, need the help. People out there need help.
But why didn't you do it over the last 25 years?
Because you weren't president.
Because you
weren't president screwing things up.
You were a senator. And
You're
by
the
way,
worst
you were
president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe. I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe. We've done things that I never even thought of doing, including fixing the broken military that you gave me, including taking care of your vets.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. I'd like to ask you about your plans going forward. Because, Mr. Vice President, your economic plan, if you were to be elected president, focuses a lot on big government, big taxes, big spending. I want to focus first on the taxes. You propose more than $4 trillion over a decade in new taxes on individuals making more than $400,000 a year and on corporations. President Trump says that that kind of an increase in taxes is going to hurt the economy as it's just coming out of a recession.
Well, just take a look at what is the analysis done by Wall Street firms. Points out that my economic plan would create 7 million more jobs than his in 4 years,
How?
number one. And number two, it would create
Government
an
jobs?
additional $1 trillion in economic growth, because it would be about buying American. That we're going to make this federal government spend $600 billion a year on everything from ships to steel to buildings and the like.
How many
and
jobs?
under my proposal, we're going to make sure that every penny of that has to be made by a company
But
in
respectfully,
America.
sir, I'm talking about taxes, not spending.
Well,
Respectfully,
by the
we're
way,
not
no,
talking about that at all.
significant
You're an
number of
idiot.
tax. I'm going to make the corporate tax 28%. It shouldn't be 21%. You have 91 companies, in the Fortune 500 who don't pay a single penny in tax, making billions of dollars.
Why didn't you do it
Billions
before
of
when
dollars.
you were vice president with Obama?
Because you, in fact, passed that. That was
That's right.
your
I got
tax
it-
proposal.
I got it done. And you know what happened?
Yeah, you got it done.
Our economy boomed
And,
like it's never
and
boomed
the economy
Well,
is
Mr.
busted.
President,
Let me finish.
Mr. President, let me pick up on that. You would continue your free market approach,
Pure
lower
chaos.
taxes, more deregulation, correct?
Not lower taxes for the American people.
Let me.
Excuse me.
But in Obama's,
Not
you talk
lower
about the economy
taxes
booming.
for the American
it turns
people.
out that
Pay
in
attention.
Obama's final 3 years as
attention.
president, more jobs
Pay more.
were created, a
How can
million
we
and a
pay
half
more?
more jobs
What
than
are
in
we
the
already
first 3
paying? We're
years
paying a
of your
shitload
presidency.
now.
They had the slowest recovery since economic recovery
Fuck
since
Biden.
1929.
Sorry.
It was the slowest recovery. Also, they took over something that was down here. All you had to do is turn on the lights and you pick up a lot. But they had the slowest economic recovery since 1929. Let me tell you about the stock market. When the stock market goes up, that means jobs. It also means 401ks.
Confused
If you got
look in
in,
Joe
if
Biden's
you ever
eyes. Take a
became
sip.
president with your ideas, you want to terminate my taxes, I'll tell you what, you'll lose half of the companies that have poured in here will leave,
Yep.
and plenty
Half
of
of the
companies that are
companies-
already
Yep.
here, they'll leave
Hardly
for
any
other
companies
places.
have
They will
poured in
leave,
here.
and you will have a
Have it-
depression, the likes of which you've never seen.
Look,
Mr.
we
Vice President.
inherited the worst recession short of a depression in American history. I was asked
Not
to bring
true.
it
That's a
back.
lie.
We
Drink.
were able to have an economic recovery that created the jobs you're talking about. We handed him a booming economy. He blew it.
It wasn't
he blew
booming.
it.
It's
not true.
He
It
blew
wasn't booming. It was the weakest recovery
Well, sir, is it
since
fair to, wait, is it fair to
1929.
is it fair to say he blew it when, in
When
fact,
COVID came in.
when there was record low unemployment
Yeah.
before COVID?
Yeah, but because what he did,
If I
even
don't
before
actually drink
COVID,
water in between
manufacturing
this,
went in
I'm
the hole.
screwed.
Manufacturing went in the hole.
Excuse
Number
me,
one.
Chris,
Wait.
wait.
Number
Again.
two.
Chris,
Number three.
They said it would take. No, you're on number two.
No.
Chris, they said it would
This
take
guy
a
is
miracle to bring back manufacturing. I brought back 700,000 jobs. They brought back nothing.
What a
They gave up
miracle.
on manufacturing.
We
Part
did
of
not
my
agree.
standard fare.
I'm the guy that
He
brought
totally
back
gave
the
up on
automobile
manufacturing.
industry.
All right, let him.
We brought back, I was asked to bring back Chrysler and General Motors. We brought them back right here in the state of Ohio and Michigan.
'Cause
He
they were in
blew
Russia.
it. They're gone. He blew it.
Hunter.
And in fact, they're going.
Ohio had the best year it's ever had last year. Michigan had the best year they've ever had.
That is not
Many
true.
car companies
No,
came in from Germany, from Japan, went to Michigan,
no,
went to
that's-
Ohio.
they're not having
And
it.
they didn't come in with you.
Mr. Vice President, go ahead.
And so you take a look at what he's actually done.
It's so
He's
obvious.
done very
Bias.
little. His trade deals are the same way. He talks about these great trade deals. You know, he talks about the art of the deal. China's perfected the art of the steal. We have a higher deficit with China now than we did before.
Not true.
We have the highest trade deficit
China
with
ate
Mexico.
your lunch,
All
down
right, gentlemen,
18%.
in-
China ate your lunch, Joe, and
but-
no wonder your son goes in and he takes out. He takes out billions of dollars. Takes out
Drink.
billions of dollars to manage.
Drink.
He makes millions of dollars.
You
And
have to
also,
drink.
Simply
while
not
we're at
true.
it, why
Guys,
is it?
you
Just
have
out of
to drink for that.
curiosity. The mayor of Moscow's
I feel
wife
like
gave your son
this is
$3.5
an
million.
MMA fight.
That's
What
not
did he
true.
do to deserve it?
That
What
is-
did he do with Burisma
None
to
of that-
deserve
Wait, wait,
$183,000?
None
You've
of
asked
that
your
is
question,
true.
let him answer. If,
None of that is true. It's
Oh, really? He didn't
totally
get
but
the
no,
$3.5
hey,
million?
Mr. President,
It's
Mr.
totally-
President, please. You've
totally
asked a question.
discredited. Totally discredited.
Hunter
And
was
by the way,
mentioned.
Well, wait,
Adam
he didn't get
No, no.
$3.5 million, Joe?
That's right.
Mr. Vice,
He got
Mr.
$3.5
President,
million.
Steps are behind, Max.
that is not true.
Oh, really?
Here's-
Mr. President,
But, Mr.
it's an open discussion, please.
It's a fact.
Well,
It
you
is
have
not.
raised an issue. Let the
been
Vice
totally
President answer.
discredited.
Did
There was a
Burisma pay him
report.
$183,000 a month with no experience in energy?
Mr.
Look,
President,
my son did nothing wrong at Burisma.
I think he
and
did.
Mr.
the only guy
President,
that
let him
did
answer.
He doesn't want to let me answer because he knows I have the truth. His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited.
who?
And
The media?
By everybody. Well, by the
By the
media,
media,
by our
because they refuse to
allies,
talk
by the
about it
World
because they're
Bank, by
embarrassed.
The World
by
Bank
everyone
didn't investigate
has
Hunter.
discredited. Matter of
World
fact,
Bank doesn't
matter of
have
fact,
that
even
authority.
the
Mr.
people who
President, please stop.
testified under oath.
So let me
under
ask you
oath,
this,
under-
Joe.
under
No,
oath.
go ahead, Mr. I'm listening to
Even the
you.
people under,
He got $3.5 million from
testified-
Moscow.
He testified under oath, and his administration said, "I did my job and I did it very well.
Oh,
I
really?
did it
I'd like to know
honorably."
who they are.
Well, I'll give you the list
I'll
of the
fire
people who
them.
testified.
No, go ahead, sir.
Sure, you've already fired most of them because they did
Some
a good
because
job.
some people don't
well,
do a good
here's
job. With you,
Go
they
ahead.
say-
You get
here's the
the, wait a
deal.
minute. You get the final word, Mr.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me, this.
Hey,
this
let me just
person.
say, Joe.
No. Mr. President.
$3.5
Mr.
million,
President.
Joe.
That
Clown.
is simply.
Why did
not
he
true.
deserve $3.5 million
It
from
did-
Moscow?
Look, here's the deal. We want to talk about families and ethics. I don't want to do
Oh,
that.
yeah, bring up
I mean,
Ivanka.
his family we could talk about all night. His family's
My
already.
family,
No, let him go.
my family
Already
lost
wrote.
a fortune by
Go ahead.
coming down and helping
Go
us
ahead.
with
Go ahead,
government.
sir.
And that's such a.
they're right
that's
here.
a-
Mr.
That's
President.
such
Every
a great.
single one of them lost
This
a
is not
fortune
about
by
President.
my
coming and
family or
helping
his
us with
family. It's
government.
about your family,
This is
the
chaos.
American people.
$3.5 million
He doesn't.
Chaos.
That's not true. It doesn't want to talk about what you need. You, the American people.
Where's
It's
Hunter?
about you. That's what we're talking about.
Then you
here.
should
All right,
Take
that's
Not
the, end
about
of the,
here.
that's the end of the
Shouldn't have
segment.
taken the money.
We're moving on.
He didn't take them.
Well,
Vice
it's a very-
President,
but Chris,
no,
can I be honest? It's a very important
Try to be
question.
honest.
No, I-
He
I-
stood up.
No,
he stood up.
the answer to
and
the
he
question is
threatened
no.
Ukraine.
No, sir.
With $1 billion, if you don't
That
get rid of
is
the press.
You know what? You're-
absolutely
wait,
not
stop.
You're
true.
on tape doing it.
You're going to
You're on
have
tape.
True.
Gentlemen.
Is-
I hate to raise
Chris,
my voice,
he's
but I
on
see it seems
tape.
to be. Why should I be different than the two of you? So here's the
Got a
deal.
good point.
We have
This is a shit show. This is a shit
six
show.
segments. We have ended that segment. We're going to go to the next segment.
I'm halfway
In that
through the
segment,
Weller
you each
bottle.
are going to have 2 uninterrupted moments. In those 2 uninterrupted
Bathroom
minutes, Mr.
break.
President, you can say anything you want. I'm going to ask a question about race, but if you want to answer about something else, go ahead. But I think that the
Wallace is a
country
piece
would
of
be better
shit.
served
Let's just say
if
the
we
honest thing.
allowed both
Hey,
people to speak
our
with
debate
fewer
today was
interruptions.
so
I'm
much
appealing
better.
to you, sir, to do that.
It was.
And him, too.
It was.
Frankly, you've been doing more interrupting
That's
than
all
he
right,
has.
but he does plenty.
You've been doing
Well, less than, sir, less
There's
than,
plenty.
no,
All
less
right,
than
all
you
right.
have.
You're a
Let's
pansy
please
liberal.
continue on. The
Get
issue
out.
of race. Vice President Biden, you say that President Trump's response to the violence in Charlottesville 3 years ago, when he talked about very fine people on both sides, was what directly led you to launch this run for president.
Oh, yeah, sure.
President Trump, you have often said that you believe you have done more for black Americans than any president, with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln. My question for the two of you is, why should voters trust you rather than your opponent to deal with the race issues facing this country over the next 4 years? Vice President
Everyone hit the
Biden,
share
you go
button.
first.
Share.
Hit the share
It's
button.
about equity and equality. It's about decency. It's about the Constitution. And we have never walked away from trying to require equity for everyone, equality for the whole of America. But we've never accomplished it. But we've never walked away from it like he has done. It is true. The reason I got in the race is when those people, close your eyes, remember what those people looked like coming out of the fields carrying torches, their veins bulging, spewing anti-Semitic bile, and accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. A young woman
Anti-Semitic
got killed. And they asked the president what he thought. He
What
said there were
in the
very
world?
fine people on both sides. No
What a piece of
president ever
shit.
said anything like
That's a
that.
lie.
It is who's
Now,
who
second-
in it, sir.
just drink.
Second point I'd make to you is that when
That's a lie.
Floyd was killed, when Mr. Floyd was killed, there was a
Fentanyl
peaceful
Floyd.
protest in front of the White House. What did he do?
Senator
he
Floyd?
came out of his bunker,
Is that what he said?
had the military use tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church and hold up a Bible. And then what happened after that?
Oh, my
The
God.
bishop
What
of that
is he
very
talking
church said
about?
that it was a disgrace. The general who was with him said all he ever wants to do is divide people, not unite people at all. This is a
not
president
true.
who has
This
used
guy is
everything
not
as a
even-
dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have been killed. 1 in 500 African Americans. This man is the
just not
savior of
true.
African Americans. This man cares at all. This man's done virtually nothing. Look, the fact is that you have to look at what he talks about. You have to look at what he did. And what he did
Here comes
has been
Trump's 2
disastrous
minutes.
for the African American community.
So
President Trump, you have 2 minutes. Why should Americans trust you over your
Here we go.
opponent to deal with
he
racism?
did a crime bill,
Here we go.
1994, where you call them super predators, African Americans, the super predators, and they've never forgotten it. They've
Drink
never forgotten
just
it,
because-
Joe.
No, sir, it's his
Fuck
2 minutes.
So you did that, and they call you a super predator, and I'm letting people out of jail now that you have treated the African American population community,
step
you have
back.
treated the black community about as bad
step
as
back.
anybody in this country. You did the 1990, and that's why, if you look at the polls, I'm doing better than any Republican has done in a long time, because they saw what you did. You call them super predators, and you've called them worse than that. Because you look back at your testimony over the years, you've called them a lot worse than that. As far as the church is concerned, and as far as the generals are concerned, we just got the support of 250 military leaders and generals, total support. Law enforcement, almost every law enforcement group in the United States. I have Florida, I have Texas, I have Ohio, I have Portland. The sheriff just came out today and he said, I support President Trump. I don't think you have any law enforcement. You can't even say the word law enforcement, because if you say those words, you're going to lose all of your radical left supporters. And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the words law enforcement? Because you know what? If they called us in Portland, we would put out that fire in a half an hour, but they won't do it because they're run by radical left Democrats. If you look at Chicago, if you look at any place you want to look, Seattle, they heard we were coming in the following day, and they put up their hands, and we got back Seattle. Minneapolis, we got it back, Joe, because we believe in law and order, but you don't. The top 10 cities and just about the top 40 cities are run by Democrats and, in many cases, radical left. And they've got you wrapped around their finger, Joe, to a point where you don't want to say anything about law and order. And I'll tell you what,
Trump.
the people of this country
I love
want
Trump.
and demand law and order, and you're afraid to even say it.
All right. I want to return to the question of race.
Hey,
Vice
Richard,
President Biden, after the
I
grand
see you
jury
on-
in the
I see you
Breonna
on
Taylor
YouTube,
case
Richard. You're right.
decided not to charge any
I
of the
have Biden
police
say, Bill, I
with
agree.
homicide. You said it raises the question, quote, whether justice could be equally applied in America. Do you believe that there is a separate but unequal system of justice for blacks in this country?
Yes, there is. There's systemic injustice in this country, in education and work and in law enforcement and the way in which it's enforced. But look, the vast majority of police officers are good, decent,
fading,
honorable
Matt.
men and women. They risk their lives
No.
every day to take care of us.
I'm
But there
fading.
are some
Josh,
bad
get him a
apples.
coffee.
When they occur, when they find them, they have to be sorted out. They have to be held
I'm like
accountable.
13
They have to be
behind
held
right now.
accountable. And what I'm going to do as President of the United States is call together an entire group of people at the White House, well, everything from the civil rights groups to the police officers, to the police chiefs, and we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out so we
Work it
change
out.
the way in which we have more transparency in when
Social
these things
workers.
happen. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to George Floyd. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to Breonna Taylor. Most don't like it. But we have to have a system where people are held accountable. And by the way, violence in response is never appropriate. Never appropriate. Peaceful protest is. Violence is never appropriate.
All right, Ms.
What is peaceful
President-
protest? When they run through the middle of a town
President Trump-
and
Yeah,
burn
what's
down your
President Trump?
stores and kill people all
President
over
Trump,
the place,
that
and you
is
say
not
peaceful
peaceful
protest?
President
No,
Trump,
it's
I'm not
not, but
asking-
you say it is.
I did
President
not
Trump,
say
I'd
it.
like to continue with the
Yes,
issue
go
of
ahead,
race. I
please.
promise we're going to get to the issue of law and order in a moment. This month, your administration directed federal agencies to end racial sensitivity training that addresses white privilege or critical race theory. Why did you decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country, sir?
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane, that it was a radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it, and so does everybody else.
Radical,
and he would know.
What is radical totally about racial sensitivity training, sir?
If you were a certain person, you had no status in life. It was sort of a reversal. And if you look at the people, we were paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach very bad ideas and, frankly, very sick ideas. And really, they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. We have to go back to the core values of this country. They were teaching people that our country is a horrible place, it's a racist place, and they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Vice President Biden?
Nobody's doing that. He's the racist. Here's the deal. I know a lot more about this than he does.
Let him finish.
The fact is that there is racial insensitivity. People have to be made aware of what other people feel like.
You just called the President of the United States a racist.
What insults them, what is demeaning to them. It's important to people know they don't want to. Many people don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but it makes a big difference. It makes a gigantic difference in the way a child is able to grow up and have a sense of self-esteem. It's a little bit like how this guy and his friends look down on so many people. They look down their nose on people like Irish Catholics like me and grew up in Scranton. They look down on people who don't have money. They look down on people who are of a different faith. They look down on people who are a different color. In fact, we're all Americans. The only way we're going to bring this country together is bring everybody together. There's nothing we cannot do if we do it together. We can take this on and we can defeat racism in America.
President Trump, sir.
During the Obama-Biden administration, there was tremendous division.
Obama, take a step.
There was hatred. You look at Ferguson. You go to many places. Look at Oakland. Look what happened in Oakland. Look what happened in Baltimore. Look what happened. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now.
Oh, my
but
Lord.
the reason is that
ridiculous.
the Democrats that run these cities don't want to talk like you about law and order.
Violent
and you
crime,
still haven't mentioned. Are you in
crime.
favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow it.
Are you in favor of law and order? Go
yes,
ahead,
I'm in
say
favor.
it.
You
Everybody's
asked a
in favor
question,
of
let him finish.
Law and order.
Loses
Law and
Let
order.
him- let him-
Law and order with justice, where people get treated fairly. And the fact of the matter is, violent crime went down 17%, 15% in our administration.
All right.
It's gone up on his watch.
Went down
He-
much
Hold on.
more
he
in
had-
ours.
All right,
on.
we're
He
going
is
to,
president of
Mr.
the
President,
United
you're going
States
to,
of America.
Hit the pause
Mr.
button.
President,
Every record in
I just want to let everyone know, we're pausing this really briefly. Joe Biden just said, I support law and a little bit of order. That's what he literally just said. He just said, I support law and a little bit of order. I didn't want to pause this, but it's too important not to mention.
bring it back on.
Go ahead, hit play.
Mr. President, you're going to be very happy because we're now going to talk about law and order.
places we had trouble were Democratic-run cities.
That's
and
exactly
so-
my question. There has been a dramatic increase in homicides in America this summer particularly, and you often blame that on Democratic mayors and Democratic governors, but in fact there have been equivalent spikes in Republican-led cities like Tulsa and Fort Worth. So the question is this really a party issue?
I think it's a party issue. You can bring in a couple of examples, but if you look at Chicago, what's going on in Chicago, where 53 people were shot and 8 died shot. If you look at New York, where it's going up like nobody's ever seen anything, the numbers are going up 100, 150, 200%. Crime. It is crazy what's going on. And he doesn't want to say law and order because he can't, because he'll lose his radical left supporters. And once he does that, it's over with. But if he ever got to run this country and they ran it the way he would want to run it, we would have our suburbs would be gone. By the way, our suburbs would be gone, and you would see problems like you've never seen.
He would know a suburb unless he took a wrong turn.
Oh, I know suburbs.
He would not.
So much
I was
better.
raised,
Go ahead. Wait a minute.
I was raised in the suburbs. This is not 1950. All these dog whistles and racism don't work anymore. Suburbs are by and large integrated. There's many people today driving their kids to soccer practice and or to black and white and Hispanic in the same car. are as there have been any time in the past. What really is a threat to the suburbs and their safety is his failure to deal with COVID. They're dying in the suburbs. His failure to deal with the environment. They're being flooded. They're being burned out because his refusal to do anything. That's why the suburbs are in trouble.
I do want to talk about this issue of law and order, though. And in the joint recommendation that came from the Biden-Bernie Sanders task force, you talk about, quote, reimagining policing. Yeah. First of all, what does reimagining policing mean, and do you support?
It means...
let me, if I might finish the question. What does reimagining policing mean, and do you support the Black Lives Matter call for community control of policing?
Look, what I support is the police having the opportunity to deal with the problems they face. And I'm totally opposed to defunding the police offices. As a matter of fact, local police, the only one defunding it, his budget calls for a $400 million cut in local law enforcement assistance.
They need more
assistance. They need, when they show up for a 9/11 call, to have someone with them as a psychologist or psychiatrist to keep them from having to use force and be able to talk people down. We have to have community policing like we had before, where the officers get to know the people in the communities. That's when crime went down. It didn't go up, it went down. And so we have to be engaged.
That's not what they're talking about, Chris. That's not what they're talking about. He's talking about defunding the police.
That is not true.
He doesn't have any law support.
Look,
he has no law enforcement support.
That's not true.
Almost nothing.
Look.
Oh, really? Who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go ahead.
Look,
think. We have time.
We don't have time to do anything.
All right. Name one law enforcement group that came out and supported you.
Gentlemen, I think I'm going to take back the moderator's role, and I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of protests in many cities that have turned violent. In Portland, Oregon, especially, we had more than 100 straight days of protests, which I think you would agree. You talk about peaceful protests. Many of those turned into riots. Mr. Vice President, you say that people who commit crimes should be held accountable. The question I have, though, is, as the Democratic nominee, and earlier tonight you said that you are the Democratic Party right now.
I am going to have to drink
Have you ever called the Democratic mayor of Portland or the Democratic governor of Oregon and said, hey, you got to stop this, bring in the National Guard, do whatever it takes, but you stop the days and months of violence in Portland?
I don't hold public office now. I am a former vice president. I've made it clear in my public statements that the violence should be prosecuted. It should be prosecuted, and anyone who commits it.
But you've never called for the people, the leader. Excuse me, sir. You had never called for the leaders in Portland and in Oregon to bring in the National Guard and knock off 100 days of riots.
They can, in fact, take care of it if he just stay out of the way. Look here.
Oh, really?
Really? Here's the thing.
I sent in the U.S. Marshals to get the killer of the young man in the middle of the street, and they shot him. And for 3 days,
President Trump,
Portland wouldn't do anything. I had to send in the U.S. Marshals. They took care of business.
Go ahead, sir.
And by the way, his own former spokesperson said, riots and chaos and violence help his cause. That's what this is all about.
I don't know who said that.
I do.
Who?
I think Kellyanne Conway.
I don't think she said that.
She said that.
Yes, that's not what she said. That's not what she said.
The point is that's what he keeps trying to rile everything up. He doesn't want to calm things down. Instead of going in and talking to people and saying, let's get everybody together, figure out how to deal with this. What's he do? He just pours gasoline in the fire constantly, and every single solitary
Okay, and to end this, button up this segment, I'm going to give you a minute to answer, sir. You have repeatedly criticized.
Wait, I have to answer his statement.
You have repeatedly. No, you've been talking back and forth.
You made a statement.
I'm asking you.
I would love to end it.
Sir,
I would love to end it.
If you want to switch seats.
We could very quickly.
We could do that, but
I'd send in the National Guard. It would be over. There'd be no problem.
Okay,
but they don't want to accept the National Guard.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland.
Sure,
Are you
I'm willing
prepared
to do
specifically
that, but
do it?
Well,
I
go
would
ahead,
say
sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see
Well,
peace.
then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
Do you want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name. Go ahead.
supremacists and
Who would
right
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem.
His
This
own
is a left-wing.
FBI director
This
said
is a
the threat
left-wing
of
problem.
white
Go ahead,
supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you gotta be
not
kidding.
militia. That's what
Oh, really?
his
It's an idea.
FBI, his
Okay.
FBI director
Gentlemen,
said.
Well,
we're
then
gonna-
you know what?
No,
He's
no,
wrong.
we're done, sir. We're
Everybody-
moving on to the next.
everybody
we're
in
moving
your
on.
That is
administration-
your
administration-
That's not an idea.
Everybody in
Antifa
your
is bad.
administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas. that are-
Antifa is a dangerous,
All right,
radical
gentlemen,
group.
we're now moving on to the Trump
And
and
you ought to be
Biden
careful with
records.
them. They'll overthrow you.
When
in
a
2
president,
seconds.
I'm going to ask a
Yeah.
question. When the president seeks a second term, it is generally a referendum on his record. But Vice President Biden, you like to quote one of your dad's sayings, which is, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. And in this case, sir, you are the alternative. Looking at both of your records, I'm going to ask each of you, why should voters elect you president over your opponent? In this segment, President Trump, you go first, 2 minutes.
Because there has never been an administration or president who has done more than I've done in a period of 3.5 years. And that's despite the impeachment hoax. And you saw what happened today with Hillary Clinton, where it was a whole big con job. But despite going through all of these things, where I had to fight
Lock her
both
up.
flanks and behind me and above, there has never been an administration that's done what I've done. The greatest, before COVID
I'm
came
eating
in, the
peanut
greatest
smash.
economy in history, lowest unemployment numbers. Everything was good. Everything was going. And by the way, there was unity going to happen. People were calling me for the first time in years. They were calling and they were saying, it's time maybe. And then what happened? We got hit, but now we're building it back up again. A rebuilding of the military, including Space Force and all of the other things. A fixing of the VA, which was a mess under him. 308,000 people died because they didn't have proper health care. It was a mess. And we now got a 91% approval rating at the VA, our vets. We take care of our vets.
That's
but
right,
we've
baby.
rebuilt
Yeah.
our military. The
Yeah.
job that we've done, and I'll tell you something, some people say maybe the most important. By the end of the first term, I'll have approximately 300 federal judges and Court of Appeals judges, 300, and hopefully 3 great Supreme Court justices. That is a record, the likes of which very few people, and you know one of the reasons I'll have so many judges? Because
God.
President Obama and him
God.
left me 128
Man upstairs.
judges to fill. When you leave office, you don't leave any judges. That's like you just don't do that. They left 128 openings, and if I were a member of his party, because they have a little different philosophy, I'd say if you left us 128 openings, you can't be a good president, you can't be a good vice president. But I want to thank you because it gives us almost, it'll probably be above that number by the end of this term.
Fine, sir.
300 judges, it's a record.
Looking at both your records, why should voters elect you president as opposed to President Trump?
this
You have 2
president-
minutes uninterrupted.
Under this
The
president, we
president
become
has
weaker,
accomplished more, by the
sicker,
way, in the last
poorer,
4 years
more
than they have
divided,
in like the
and more
last 5
violent.
decades. And
When I was
tomorrow
vice
we'll talk
president,
about that on our.
we inherited a recession. I was asked to fix it. I did. We left him a booming economy,
You didn't
and he
fix
caused
shit.
a recession. With regard to being weaker,
He caused
the
a
fact
recession.
is that I've gone head to head with Putin and made it clear to him we're not going to take any of his stuff. He's Putin's puppy. He still refuses to even say anything to Putin about the bounty on the heads of American soldiers.
Your son got
And-
$3.5 million.
That's right.
Mi-
And
Mr.
by the way,
President- Mr.
my
President,
son.
wait a minute. Mr. President, your campaign agreed to both sides would get 2-minute answers uninterrupted.
you were right.
Joe Biden
Your son
interrupts, he
agreed to
doesn't
it.
care.
And why don't you observe what your campaign agreed to as a ground rule, okay, sir?
You never keep
Hey.
his
Chris
word.
Wallace, you're a
Can
piece
you
of
add
shit.
back-
No,
Hey,
I'm
Matt.
not asking. That was a rhetorical question.
Can you
Go
add
ahead,
back
sir.
30 seconds?
Yeah, yes,
Bag.
you may have.
All right.
Go ahead.
So,
Reporter
thirdly,
in Colorado
we're
Springs
poor.
is watching.
The billionaires have gotten much more wealthy.
The one that's a man.
By a tune of over $300 to $400 billion more just since COVID. You in the home, you got less.
I'm watching
You're in more trouble than you were before. In terms of being more violent, when we were in office, there were 15% less violence in America than there is today. He's president of the United States. It's on his watch.
Right.
And with regard to more divided, the nation can't stay divided. We can't be this way. And speaking of my son, the way you talk about the military, the way you talk about them being losers and being and just being suckers. My son was in Iraq. He spent a year there.
Here comes the tears.
He got the Bronze Star. He got the Conspicuous Service Medal. He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes.
Really?
And I resent
Are you talking
like
about
hell.
Hunter? Are you talking about
I'm talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking about me.
I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah,
Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. He
For
wasn't dishonorably.
cocaine use. And he didn't have a job until you became vice president. And once you
None
became
of that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China.
It wasn't dishonorable.
It's simply
It was less than honorable.
He
my
made
son,
a fortune.
My son,
and he didn't have a job.
My son, like a lot of people we know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of my son. All right, he wasn't given $10 million. That is totally discredited.
You've already been
totally discredited.
Crackhead getting millions of dollars for Russians.
I think the American people would rather hear about more substantial
So do I.
subjects. Well, you know, as the moderator, sir, I'm going to make a judgment call here.
Gets $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow.
That is not true.
Gentlemen,
that report is totally discredited. Mitt Romney on that committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money. That report is written for political reasons.
That's not true.
I'd like to talk about climate change.
So would I.
Climate change.
The forest fires in the West are raging now.
That wasn't on the agenda.
Millions of acres. They have displaced hundreds of thousands of people. When state officials there blame the fires on climate change, Mr. President, you said, I don't think the science knows. Over your 4 years, you have pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accord. You have rolled back a number of Obama environmental records. What do you believe about the science of climate change, and what will you do in the next 4 years
I
to
could be
confront
completely
it?
trash,
I want
and I still
crystal
would tell
clean
you
water
that Obama
and air. I want beautiful,
above the
clean air. We have
shitbag.
now the lowest carbon. If you look at our numbers right now, we are doing phenomenally. But I haven't destroyed our businesses. Our businesses aren't put out of commission. If you look at the Paris Accord, it was a disaster from our standpoint. And people are actually very happy about what's going on because our businesses are doing well. As far as the fires are concerned, you need forest management in addition to everything else. The forest floors are loaded up with trees, dead trees that are years old, and they're like tinder, and leaves and everything else. You drop a cigarette in there, the whole forest burns down. You've got to have forest management.
What do you
You've got to have cuts.
What do you believe about the science of climate change, sir?
I believe that we have to do everything we can to have immaculate air, immaculate water, and do whatever else we can that's good. You know, we're planting a billion trees, the Billion Tree Project, and it's very exciting
You believe
for a lot of people.
that human pollution, greenhouse gas emissions contributes to the global warming of this
I think
planet?
a lot of things do, but I think to an extent, yes. I think to an extent, yes. But I also think we have to do better management of our forests. Every year, I get the call, California's burning. California's burning. If that was cleaned, if you had forest management, good forest management, you wouldn't be getting those calls. You know, in Europe, they have forest cities. They're called forest cities. They maintain their forests. They manage their forests. I was with the head of a major country. It's a forest city.
You are cheating,
He said,
Max.
sir, we have trees that are far more, they ignite much easier in California. There shouldn't be that problem. I spoke with the governor about it. I'm getting along very well with the governor. But I said, you know, at some point, you can't every year have hundreds of thousands of acres of land just burned to the ground. That's burning down because of a lack of management.
But, sir, if you believe in the science of climate change, why have you rolled back the Obama Clean Power Plan, which limited carbon emissions in power plants? Why have you relaxed?
Because it was driving energy prices through the sky.
Why have you relaxed fuel economy standards that are going to create more pollution from cars
Well,
and
not
trucks.
really, because what's happening is the car is
Fuck
much
you,
less
Chris.
expensive and it's a much safer car, and you're talking about a tiny difference. And then what would happen, because of the cost of the car, you would have at least double and triple the number of cars purchased. We have the old slugs out there that are 10, 12 years old. If you did that, the car would be safer, it would be much cheaper by
But
$3,500.
in the case of California, they've simply
No, but you
ignored
would take
your
a lot of cars
roadmap.
off the market because people would be able to afford a car. Now, and by the way, we're going to see how that turns out. But a lot of people agree with me, many people. The car has gotten so expensive because they have computers all over the place for an extra little bit of gasoline. And, and I'm okay with electric cars, too. I think I'm all for electric cars. I've given big incentives for electric cars. But what they've done in California is just crazy.
Vice President Biden, I'd like you to respond to the president's climate change record, but I also want to ask you about a concern. You proposed $2 trillion in green jobs. You talk about new limits, not abolishing, but new limits on fracking, ending the use of fossil fuels to generate electricity by 2035, and zero net emission of greenhouse gases by 2050.
Chris is a
the president says a lot of these things would tank the economy and cost millions of jobs.
He's absolutely wrong, number one. Number two, if in fact, during our administration, the Recovery Act, I was in charge, able to bring down the cost of renewable energy to cheaper than or
You're
as cheap as
liar.
coal and gas
Drink.
and oil. Nobody's going to build another
we'll drink to that.
coal-fired plant in America.
I'm a
No one's
business
going to
guy.
build another
I
oil-fired
understand
plant in
everything
America.
he's saying.
They're going to move to
All right,
renewable
we're almost
energy.
done. Almost
Number
done.
one. Number two,
We'll have a
we're going to
post-game.
make sure that we are able to take the
Post-game's gonna
federal
be so
fleet
much
and
fun.
turn it into a fleet that's
Not
run
really.
on their electric vehicles. Making sure that we can do that, we're going to put 500,000 charging stations and all of the highways that we're going to be building in the future. We're going to build an economy that, in fact, is going to provide for the ability of us to take 4 million buildings and make sure that they, in fact, are weatherized in a way that, in fact, they'll emit significantly less gas and oil because the heat will not be going out. There's so many
buildings
things that we
emitting
can
gas?
do now to create
Love
thousands
it.
and
No, I
thousands of
should not
jobs.
drink
We can
anymore.
get to
But
net
that's for me.
zero in terms of energy production by 2035. Not only not costing people jobs, creating millions of good paying jobs.
Oh, shit, I gotta go
Not
to YouTube.
15 bucks an hour, but prevailing wage, by having a new infrastructure that in fact is green. And the first thing I will do, I will rejoin the Paris Accord. I will join the Paris Accord because with us out of it, look what's happening. It's all falling apart. And talk about
What's
someone who has
falling apart?
no relationship with foreign policy. Brazil, the rainforests of Brazil are being torn down, are being ripped down. More carbon is absorbed in that rainforest than every bit of carbon that's emitted in the United States. Instead of doing something about that, I would be gathering up and making sure we had the countries of the world coming up with $20 billion and say, here's $20 billion. Stop tearing down the forest. And if you don't, then you're going to have significant economic consequences.
What about the argument that President Trump basically says that you have to balance
You're a cheat.
environmental interests and economic interests, and he's drawn his line?
Well, he hadn't drawn a line. He still, for example, makes sure that he wants to make sure that methane's not a problem. You can now emit more methane without it being a problem. Methane. This is a guy who says that you don't have to have mileage standards for automobiles that exist now. This is the guy who says that, well, the fact that it's all true. And here's the deal.
Talking about the Green New Deal, and it's not $2 billion or $20 billion, as you said. It's $100 trillion.
I'm talking about
where they want to rip down buildings
and
rebuild the building.
No,
it's the
that is
dumbest,
not-
most ridiculous.
that is not
where
the
airplanes are out of
Wait a minute,
business,
That's it.
where two-car systems are out, where they
Not
want to
true.
take out the cows too.
Not
That's not true either, right?
Not
This is
true.
this is a $100
Simply,
trillion.
look,
That's more money than our
is-
country could make in
that is
100
simply
years if we're
not
going by
the case.
All right,
No,
let me
destroy our
because I
country.
actually, wait a minute, sir. I actually have studied your plan, and it includes upgrading
What
4
plan?
million buildings, weatherizing 2 million homes
Chris,
over 4 years,
fuck you.
building 1.5 million energy-efficient homes, So the question becomes, the president is saying, I think some people who support the president would say that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money and hurt the economy.
What it's going to do is going to create thousands and millions of jobs, good-paying jobs.
Thousands of
millions.
Oh, he mentioned millions.
The
Dude,
fact
I
is,
am
it's going to
screwed.
create
Max,
millions
I
of
am 10
good-paying
cents
jobs,
behind.
and these tax incentives to people for people to weatherize, which he wants to get
Joe, eat your
get
nuts.
rid of. It's going to make the economy much safer. Look how much we're paying now to deal with the hurricanes. By the way, he has an answer for hurricanes. He said maybe we should drop a nuclear weapon on them. They may.
I never said that.
That's
at all.
he did say.
You made it up.
And here's the deal.
You make up a
we
lot.
are going to be in a position where we can create hard, good jobs by making sure the environment is clean and we all are in better shape. We spend billions of dollars now, billions of dollars on floods, hurricanes, rising seas. We're in real trouble. Look what's happened just in the Midwest with these storms that come through and wipe out entire sections and counties.
Obama just
in
bought a
Iowa.
beachfront
That
house.
didn't happen before. They're because of global warming. We make up 15% of the world's problem. We, in fact, but the rest of the world, we've got to get them to come along. That's why we have to get back into the Paris Accord.
All right, gentlemen,
Wait a minute, Chris. So why didn't he do it for 47 years? You were vice president. Why didn't you get the world? China sends up real dirt into the air. Russia does. India does. They all do. We're supposed to be good. And by the way, he made a couple of statements. The Green New Deal is $100 trillion.
That is
not
not
20
my
billion.
plan.
That's
the Green
well,
New
you want to
Deal
rebuild every
is
building.
not my plan.
You want to
All
rebuild
right.
every.
If he knew anything
wait,
about,
wait.
if he knew
Gentlemen,
He
anything
made a
about,
statement about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay.
That is
What
not
he
true.
did is
Sir, you're
he
done in
said
this segment.
he called
Mr.
the military
Vice President,
stupid bastards.
I
and he
did
said
not
it on
say
tape.
that.
He said
Mr.
stupid
Please,
bastards. He
sir,
said it.
stop.
I would never
I
say
would
that to
Play
the
Stop.
military.
it. Play it.
Go ahead,
You're
Mr.
on
Vice
tape.
President. Answered
Yes, Maggie,
his
I
final
literally-
question.
The final question
keeping
is,
up
I can't remember which of all his
117.
rantings.
I'm having a little trouble myself.
Wait,
but,
do they shut up
and
Trump,
about
but
the
they let
economy
Joe
and about this
answer?
question of what it's going to cost.
The economy.
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what
the
your
Green
environmental
New
changes
Deal-
will do.
The Green
Hey guys,
New Deal
I can't
will
keep up
pay
with your
for
comments.
itself as
I'm
we
trying.
move forward.
I really
We're not
am
going to
trying.
build plants that, in fact, are great polluting plants.
Could you
We're gonna
support
build
the Green New Deal?
We have
Pardon
like
me?
300 comments
No, I
a
don't
minute
support the
coming
Green
in.
New
Oh,
Deal.
you don't? Oh, well, that's a
You
big
let-
statement.
I
That
support
means you
the
just
Biden.
lost the radical left.
I
Oh,
support
you
the
don't.
Biden plan that I put forward.
Okay.
The Biden plan, which is different than what he calls the radical Green New Deal.
All right, gentlemen, final segment. Election integrity. As we meet tonight,
This is
millions
chaos.
of Americans are
This is
receiving
chaos.
mail-in ballots or
I'm
going
out
to
of
vote
peanuts,
early.
guys. It's
How
empty.
confident should we be that this will
Josh,
be a fair election? And
get
what
Joe
are you
some
prepared
basic
to do
carbohydrates.
over the next
Please.
plus
Help,
weeks, because
please
it'll not
save
only be
me.
to Election Day, but also counting some ballots, mail-in ballots after Election Day. What are you prepared to do to reassure the American people that the next president will be the legitimate winner of this election? In this final segment, Mr. Vice President, you go first.
Prepared to let people vote. They should go to iwillvote.com.
Like a
Decide
Capri
how
Sun
they're
or
gonna
a
vote, when they're going to
Pop-Tart?
vote, and what means by which they're going to vote. His own Homeland Security Director, and as well as the FBI Director, says there is no evidence at all that mail-in ballots
That's
are
false.
a source of
That's
being
just false.
manipulated and cheating. They said that. The fact is that there are going to be millions of people
Liar.
because of
I gotta drink
COVID
more.
that are going to be
Shit,
voting
I
by
gotta fill
mail-in
my
ballots,
bottle
like he
again.
does, by the way. He sits behind the Resolute desk and sends his ballot to Florida, number one. Number two, we're going to make sure that those people
My
who
daughter,
want
bring
to
me
vote in
water.
person are able to vote because enough poll watchers are there to
Micah's
make
still
sure
there?
they can socially
Good job,
distance.
Micah.
Say hi,
The
Micah.
polls are
Come here.
open on
Say
time,
hi.
and the polls stay open until the votes are counted. And this is all about trying to dissuade people
This is my
from
baby
voting
girl.
because he's trying to scare people into thinking that it's not going to be legitimate. Show up and vote. You will determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person. Vote whatever way is the best way for you, because he cannot stop you from being able to determine the outcome of this election. And in terms of whether or not, when the votes are counted, and they're all counted, that will be accepted. If I win, that will be accepted. If I lose, that'll be accepted. But by the way, if in fact he says he's not
Screw
sure
you,
what he's going to
Biden.
accept, well, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter.
Bob,
Because if we get the votes, it's going to be all over. He's going to go. He can't stay in power. It won't happen. It won't happen. So vote. Just make sure you understand you have it in your control to determine what this country is going to look like the next 4 years. Is it going to change, or you get 4 more years of these lies?
Mr. President, 2 minutes.
So
Here we go.
when I listened to Joe talking about a transition, there's been no transition from when I won. I won that election. And if you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won and even before I won, from the day I came down the escalator with our First Lady. They were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all. And by the way, you gave the idea for the Logan Act against General Flynn. You better take a look at that because we caught you in a sense. And President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew about it too. So don't tell me about a free transition. As far as the ballots are concerned, it's a disaster. A solicited ballot, okay, solicited is okay. You're soliciting, you're asking, they send it back, you send it back. I did that. If you have an unsolicited, they're sending millions of ballots all over the country. There's fraud. They found them in creeks. They found some with the name Trump, just happened to have the name Trump just the other day in a waste paper basket. They're being sent all over the place. They sent 2 in a Democrat area. They sent out 1,000 ballots. Everybody got 2 ballots. This is going to be a fraud like you've never seen. The other thing, it's nice on November 3rd, you're watching and you see who won the election. And I think we're going to do well because people are really happy with the job we've done. But you know what? We won't know. We might not know for months because these ballots are going to be all over. Take a look at what happened in Manhattan. Take a look at what happened in New Jersey. Take a look at what happened in Virginia and other places. They're not losing 2%, 1%, which, by the way, is too much. An election could be won or lost with that. They're losing 30 and 40%. It's a fraud, and it's a shame. And can you imagine where they say you have to have your ballot in by November 10th? November 10th. That means that's 7 days after the election, in theory, should have been announced.
Okay.
We have major states with that.
Sir,
all run by Democrats.
2 minutes.
All run by Democrats. It's
President Trump,
it's a rigged
you're going to be able to continue. You have been charging for months that mail-in balloting is going to be a disaster.
It is a disaster.
That it's going to lead to fraud. But in 2018, in the last midterm election, 31 million people voted mail-in voting. That was
and I'm not
a quarter, more than a quarter of all the voters that year cast their ballots by mail. Now that millions of mail-in ballots have gone out, what are you going to do about it? And are you counting on the Supreme Court, including a Justice Barrett, to settle any dispute?
Yeah, I think I'm counting on them to look at the ballots, definitely. I hope we don't need them in terms of the election itself. But for the ballots, I think so. Because what's happening is incredible. I read today where at least 1% of the ballots for 2016 were invalidated. They take them, we don't like them, we don't like them.
But what
they
are you
throw
going to do
them out
about it?
left
There
and
are
right.
millions of ballots going out
What
right
you
now.
do
What
is
are
you
gonna
go
do?
and vote. You do a solicited ballot, and that's okay, or you go and vote.
I'm asking you about the fact that millions of people
You go and vote. You go and vote
but
like
what I'm
they
saying is that what are you
like they
gonna do
used
about
to
the
in
fact
the
that
old.
millions of people.
You either do, Chris, a solicited ballot where you're sending it in, they're sending it back, and you're sending. They have mailmen with lots of it. Did you see what's going on? Take a look at West Virginia. Mailmen selling the ballots. They're being sold. They're being dumped in rivers. This is a horrible thing for our country. This is not going to end well. This is not going to end well.
5 states have had mail-in ballots for the last decade or more. 5, including 2 Republican states. And you don't have to solicit the ballot. It's sent to you. It's sent to your home. What they're saying is that it has to be a postmark by the time, by Election Day. If it doesn't get in until the 7th, 8th, 9th, it still should be counted. He's just afraid of counting the votes because
You're wrong. You're wrong.
I want to continue with you on this, Vice President Biden.
Chris, he's so wrong when he makes a statement like that.
Excuse me. Vice President Biden, the biggest problem, in fact, over the years with mail-in voting has not been fraud historically. It has been that sizable numbers, sometimes hundreds of thousands of ballots are thrown out because they have not been properly filled out, or there is some other irregularity, or they missed the deadline. So the question I have is, are you concerned that the Supreme Court, with a Justice Barrett, will settle any dispute?
I'm concerned that any court would settle this, because here's the deal. When you get a ballot and you fill it out, you're supposed to have an affidavit. If you didn't know, you have someone say that this is me. You should be able to, if in fact you can verify that's you before the ballot is thrown out, that's sufficient to be able to count the ballot because someone made a mistake and not dotting the correct I. Who they voted for, testify, say who they voted for, say it's you. That is totally legitimate.
All right.
Excuse me,
You
have 80 million ballots.
Gentlemen, I have a final
Senate
question.
and swamping the system. You know it can't be done. You know it can't. And already there's been
so now,
fraud.
Mail service delivers
wait a minute, gentlemen. The final question is, in 8 states, we can. In 8 states, election workers are prohibited, currently by law, 8 states, from even beginning to process ballots, even take them out of the envelopes and flatten them until Election Day. That means that it's likely, because there's going to be a huge increase in mail-in balloting, that we are not going to know on election night who the winner is, that it could be days, it could be weeks,
could be months,
until we find out who the new president is. So first for you, sir, finally for the vice president, I hope neither of you will interrupt the other. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm during this extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest? And will you pledge tonight that you will not declare victory until the election has been independently certified? President Trump, you go first.
I'm urging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it. As you know, today there was a big problem. In Philadelphia, they went in to watch. Yep. They were called poll watchers, a very safe, very nice thing. They were thrown out. They weren't allowed to watch. You know why? Because bad things happen in Philadelphia, bad things. And I am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair election, I am 100% on board. But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that. And I'll tell you what, from a common sense,
does that mean you're going to tell your people to take to the street?
It means you have a fraudulent election. You're sending out 80 million ballots. They're not equipped. These people aren't equipped to handle it, number one. Number two, they cheat. They cheat. Hey, they found ballots in a waste paper basket 3 days ago, and they all had the name military ballots. They were military. They all had the name Trump on them.
Vice President
you think
Biden,
that's good?
Vice President Biden, final question for you. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm while the vote is counted, and will you pledge not to declare victory until the election is independently certified?
Yes, and here's the deal. They count the ballots, as you pointed out. Some of these ballots in some states can't even be opened until Election Day. And if there's thousands of ballots, it's going to take time to do it. And by the way, our military, they've been voting by ballots since the end of the Civil War, in effect.
I would beat
and that's
his ass
and that's what's
going
to happen. Why was it not? Why is it for them somehow not fraudulent? It's the same process. It's honest.
7 years.
No one has established at all that there is fraud related to mail-in ballots. That somehow it's a fraudulent process.
It's already been established. Take a look at Carolyn Maloney's race.
I asked you had an opportunity to respond.
Look at Carolyn Maloney.
Go ahead.
They have no idea what happened.
Vice President Biden, go ahead.
He has no idea what he's talking about. Here's the deal. The fact is, I will accept it, and he will too. You know why?
Piss off.
Because once the winner is declared, after all the ballots are counted, all the votes are counted, that'll be the end of it. That'll be the end of it. And if it's me, in fact, fine. If it's not me, I'll support the outcome.
It's not going to be
a president,
you.
not just
you
for the
shitbag.
Democrats.
It's not going to be you.
Democrats and Republicans.
We have a post game.
I want to see
5 minutes.
ballot count.
Gentlemen, you say that's the end of it? This is the end of this debate.
Honest ballot count.
We're going to leave it there. To be continued as in more debates as we go on.
Last 90 minutes,
President Trump,
like 750
Vice President Biden, it's been an interesting hour and a half. I want to thank you both for participating in the first of 3 debates that you have agreed to engage in. We want to thank Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic for hosting this event. The next debate, sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, will be 1 week from tomorrow, October 7th, at the University of Utah. In Salt Lake City, the two vice presidential nominees, Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris, will debate at 9 p.m. Eastern that night. We hope you watch. Until then, thank you and good night.
Okay, Mr. Producer, let's go ahead. We're in the main. So let's change the title. We have the mock debate. Let's change that title. So Joe just had to take a bathroom break. He beat me to it. Oh, we have his daughter, Micah. Micah, what did you think about the debate?
Oh, Lord, that was a shit show, but Trump was absolutely brilliant.
Trump said what he needed to say. Sherry's asking, where's Trump? Where's Joe? Joe had to go make potty. He had to go to the potty.
Sorry, he has a small bladder.
I was actually hoping I could go before that because while Joe was drinking, Rod is saying, Otto went to puke. I don't think so. I think he just went to go to the bathroom. While I was drinking beer, fluid ounces, I drank much more than Joe. I thought I would be able to run to the bathroom, but Joe jumped out before the debate was over. That's okay.
Hold on. He was doing pure brown liquor.
That's true.
Yeah, he was doing pure brown liquor. I don't know if Trump was brilliant, but I think that Trump said everything he needed to say. I think that the one-liners were great. I think that I agree. It was a shit show. I think that the back and forth. I think that Chris Wallace was obviously one side. He was obviously on the side of Joe Biden. At no point did he actually do anything that was pro-Trump. Every time he intervened, he went for the Biden stance. My son just invaded.
It's
the
invasion of the children.
It's the invasion of the children.
So,
we have a baby.
The fact that Trump's.
Oh, he wants the headphones. Hold on.
What is happening here?
Invasion of the children.
All right. My son is ready for his analysis.
I'm sorry.
What do you think about that? You watched the debate?
You can come in here a little bit.
Did you watch the debate?
Oh, we have a caller. Woo! I had to pee.
It's the invasion of the.
All right, I'm gonna leave my son to handle post game analysis while I go to the bathroom. It's been 90 minutes. Like Joe Biden, I can't go that long. All right, Max Jr. All you to handle. Stand up.
Hey, Mark, piss off. This is my show, so my mic's not getting shut off.
What's up, MJ?
I'll be right back.
All right. MJ, what's up? Hey, MJ, put those mics on. Put them on. Come on. Hey, MJ. Max! What are you doing, buddy? All right, listen. I have to tell you. See, when you actually keep to the hey, what is it? I actually don't know. I want to tell you, Max.
There's only Max Jr.
Junior. Hey, MJ. MJ.
As the producer, I have to at least step in here for a moment and let you guys know that Richard called in to say he agreed with a lot of what Micah said, but he too has had too much of what we call the libations to talk, and he cannot wait to call in tomorrow.
This is my daughter, right? And I want you to know that I think it was like 120 or 130. You had to actually, MJ. Sorry, I got to talk to MJ right now, guys. So you're gonna have to wait. MJ, Max.
He's still on camera?
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
He is.
All right. You're still on camera, Max?
Max, what are you doing? You're like moving stuff around. Stop moving stuff around. Now all I just see is a canopy. You are ruining the green screen.
We don't want to see your face. We want to see Max Jr. Come on.
MJ, what are you doing moving stuff around, Max?
NBC has Hillary Clinton.
Who cares about Hillary Clinton? Micah just said that NBC.
Oh, no.
What?
Headphones.
We don't care about her.
That's true.
All right, listen. Listen. No, I'm not starting to drool. Guys, listen to me. Yeah.
I appreciate my son standing in. What's up? What? Huh? Oh. So I appreciate my son standing in while I went to the bathroom. I understand why Joe Biden wanted a break every 30 minutes. We just drank. And Joe, you accused me of not drinking.
No,
so I want to do
beer. I drink actual
fluid ounces. Fluid ounces. We want to talk about fluid ounces. I'm going to do Edward Scissorhands. This is Edward Scissorhands.
Hey, listen.
Oh,
right.
What's that? That's 8 beers. That's 8 beers and the shot.
I drank 3 beers and half a bottle
I'm
of
sorry, I
Weller.
can't hear you over
All
the
right?
clinking. I can't hear you over the clinking of my many bottles. So, while I appreciate, Joe, that you needed to go to the bathroom before me, I think in fairness, I should have been allowed to go first because by fluid ounces, I drank more than you.
Hey,
I think
listen,
that's fair.
I want you guys to know, my daughter, by the way, is much smarter than me. Yeah.
My son may be much smarter than me. I don't know
Hey,
yet.
So, Micah, I asked you a question. Or I told you something years ago. And there was a thing that you said. You came to me with a question on politics. And I said, okay, so do me a favor. This is my advice to you. Is that on?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Come on,
So,
Josh is stubborn.
so what was my advice to you years ago? There's one sentence that I said that actually described.
By the
what I
way,
told
number
you.
to call, 888-441-1121 if you want to call and talk to us about your yeah, let's take some calls. We're all drunk. Let's take some calls. What could go wrong?
The one thing
888-441-1121. Go ahead, Micah.
The one thing my dad has always told me is to think for yourself. No matter what the situation, who's against you, or how many people, you have to think for yourself and with your own train of logic.
Have I ever, literally, in your years, and obviously you just graduated from college, you're doing really well. I've been drinking a little bit because of Max and the drinking game. But have I ever told you what to think?
No, never.
Why?
Because if I were to adopt your philosophy and your ideology, then I would be no better than a puppet.
Yeah, you'd be no better than the left.
I need to be able to back up my ideas with actual facts and certified sources, because without it, you're just going on your gut feeling. And as much as people like to think that it's a great thing, you know, everybody has their own idea. At the end of the day, it's only the facts that matter.
And
Yeah.
and one of the things that, Max, you know this because we've had these conversations. One of the things that I've said to my daughter, and she actually just literally called and said, "Hey, look, I'm at the door. Can someone let me in?" And I said, "Listen, the entire and we've talked about this. I go, the scary part is, could I be wrong? Could she actually do the research and come back and actually teach her dad that what I thought was wrong?" And I have to tell you, it's not that she doesn't have different opinions. So I want to be really clear. But she has come back with the same principles, the same ethical and moral standards that I think separate us from the loony left. And I always tell Micah, I tell her all the time, listen, if you disagree with me, come back to me, talk to me about that so that I can actually become a better person for who I am. She always comes back and says, "Hey, look, I'm not going to tell you you're right because I hate when you're right, but I'm on the same page as your dad. I got you."
All right, so I appreciate Max Jr. standing in for me. I don't know what was said while I was running to the bathroom, but I think Max Jr. did an excellent job. Based on the comment section, they said Max Jr. did an excellent job.
He did a great job.
Co-hosting.
Are you kidding me? He's going to think for himself too, Max. I just want to be clear.
Like, you're talking about parenting. My parenting, I showed Max Jr. Gremlins, the movie Gremlins. He loves it.
love that
He
movie.
loves it. He calls it bad dinosaurs. That they're dinosaurs who are bad, which is the best. That's what he calls it, bad dinosaurs. He wants to watch bad dinosaurs. Anyway, we do have a caller. Anyone else who wants to call in? 888-441-1121. We have Lovey on the line. Lovey, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Max. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good.
That's
How are you?
Max.
What do you
I'm
think of the
doing
debate?
I thought the debate was awesome, and tell Max Jr. that my cat is named after the Gremlins. My cat is named Mugwai.
Oh, Mogwai.
Yes.
Don't add water.
Don't feed him after midnight.
Do not add water, please.
I won't. Yes, I thought the debate was awesome. I thought Trump did well. I thought he should have held his temper a little bit. However, glad he kind of didn't. I kind of wanted him to walk across the stage and punch him. However, yeah, I thought he did really well, and he got a lot of good points out. And I was glad Joe showed up for the debate, and Biden, the other Joe. But yeah, so I thought it was a very high energy, interesting evening. Brought out a lot of emotion. A lot of good points were made. So yeah, I thought it was a really good debate.
I understand the urge to want him to punch Biden in the face. That was the first time we've ever had a debate where one of the opposing candidate accused the sitting president of the United States of being a racist. That happened during the debate. It might have been missed by all of the laughing and the craziness, but Joe Biden actually accused Donald Trump of being a racist on air, live during a presidential debate. It's never happened before. So we talk about the craziness of this whole thing. I thought that at times Trump could have been a little bit more reserved, but given what he was facing with the accusation of him calling everyone who's ever died in the American war a loser, like given the fake news he was going up against, I could understand why he would be angry. Why he'd be
listen. Can I say, Lovey?
Well,
Can I say, Lovey? Can I say this? Lovey, can I say this? All right. As the CEO of several companies, a couple, with a lot of employees, nearly 200, right? I'm going to tell you that Trump literally, what he did was not uncommon. You stand up and you go, that's just not right. Because your job is to protect, and in this case, Trump's job is to protect the American people, right? And he stood up. And so when people actually, like Biden, who literally has 2 brain surgeries and is an absolute moron, say stuff that is absolutely terrible, he's going to call it out. Because in meetings, I call it out all the time. I go, look, let me explain something to you. What you're saying is BS, right? And if I don't, I lose the respect of everyone else. So he is playing. He is playing the truth game. Trump is playing the truth game, and as a CEO, I'm going to tell you the truth means a lot because people will follow you into battle. They will follow you into a fire if you're truthful. And Trump was truthful tonight. And Biden.
No, I agree with you.
And Biden.
I'm also in business management, so I see the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm definitely there.
God
and
bless
the fact
you,
that not only did he call him he called him a racist, but he also, was talking about, with the walking out into a field with the burning. I don't even remember how he said it, with the torches burning like bringing us back to the olden times, and that is something that I personally grew up in the 70s. I have a multicultural family. I have 7 children. I'm going to turn 50 next month.
Hey,
I have,
Lovey.
11 grandchildren who are like all races.
Lovey.
I don't like this racial divide.
Lovey.
It's tearing my whole family apart.
Lovey.
So,
Max, quiet for a second. Lovey. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
My dad's black, my mom's white, my whole family's interracial. My daughter has had to put up with it. My son has had to put up with all sorts of stuff. And one thing I say to my kids is don't use a card in order to overstep another card. You ever played war?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Wars, you have a nine of spades, you get a 10 of hearts, right? And you beat it, right? And I go, look, you don't have to justify who you are as a person.
Right.
But I have to tell you, what they're doing right now is dividing the country in ways that we've never seen before, right?
I agree.
I think most Americans are good people.
So, Lovey, I think you're spot on
with
talking about the nonsense with the tiki torches in the Virginia the riots. When Joe Biden claimed that Donald Trump said there was good people on both sides, that was a lie because literally 50 seconds after Donald Trump said that, he said, and I'm not talking about the white supremacists. So Joe Biden was bringing the lies tonight. I think we have another caller on. So, Lovey, what's your hope going into the next debate? Which I think the next debate is the vice presidential debate, which would be Kamala versus Mike Pence. What's your hope? Well, let's say what's your hope going into the next presidential debate? What do you think you would want to go differently than how it went tonight?
I guess just that, I guess just more facts, less gaslighting, less lies, less division of the country, and less emotional triggering.
Okay, well, Lovey, thank you so much for your call.
Real.
We do have packed lines right now. Apparently, going open lines when we are both drunk after a presidential debate is like the thing to do, apparently. So we do have another caller on the line. We have Rhonda, who is, I want to say, a top fan based on Facebook's own metrics. Rhonda, can you hear me?
I am here.
Hi, Rhonda.
How's it going, Rhonda?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you. Can you hear us?
Just peachy keen. I just wanted to say that Trump not only had to deal with Biden, he had to deal with Chris Wallace, and it pissed me off.
He did.
Pissed me off. I think that his job application for CNN should be approved.
Yeah, that was definitely something that was coming across on social media. Chris Wallace, time and time again, interrupted Donald Trump. But when it came to Joe Biden, he let Joe Biden talk. It was very, very one-sided, which is amazing because Joe Biden has refused to come on Chris Wallace's Sunday morning show when Donald Trump held an interview. It's amazing that Chris Wallace was able to give so much deference to Joe Biden when he wasn't willing to give an unscripted interview on his show. The bias was very obvious. You're right.
Yes, he was babying Biden, and he was rude to Trump.
He was rude, interrupted, and it almost feels like he had like a stopwatch, right? He was like, oh, wait. Hold on a second. You had 1.3 seconds more than Biden.
Yeah.
His stopwatch did not work when it was Biden's turn.
So do you think that Trump was fair? I mean, obviously. So I imagine, I haven't seen liberal Twitter yet. I imagine liberal Twitter is exploding. But I imagine that if we look at this, one of the narratives that the liberals are going to try and push out of this is that Trump was unhinged. He was going out of control. Trump was obviously trying to push back against Chris Wallace, trying to push back against Joe Biden, spreading these ridiculous lies. Do you think that Trump went too far in trying to push back against that? Do you think just right or not enough?
No, I think he didn't go far enough. I think he held his composure very well, knowing Trump. I mean, if you think about Trump's personality, he held it together very well.
I think that's fair. So people are asking, what's the call-in number? 888-441-1121. I just posted it on the Facebook comments. YouTube, it's 888-441-1121. I'll post that there too.
And Joe,
I feel bad for neglecting
what did you say?
YouTube.
Joe, what?
Joe, drink some water.
I need lots of water. Somebody give me water.
So Joe Otto has gone through an entire tin of cashews or some kind of nuts. I've been typing away at Josh, our producer. I've been begging him to get him some basic carbohydrates. At some point, he got
lying. You're lying. Come on now.
Good old
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
But I love you. Don't get me wrong.
Love you too.
Well, thank you so much for your call. We're gonna let you go just because we have a couple of other people on the line. But thank you so much for your call. We appreciate it. I guess this is the solution. Leave open line late night when both of the co-hosts are drunk. Let's just go. We have more people watching. Like, we've hemorrhaged viewers. Like, we were over 400 during the debate. We've hemorrhaged it, but we're still more than our average live stream, which, again, if you don't know, we go live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Hey.
So make sure you like and follow our Facebook page and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications on YouTube.
I don't give a shit about Facebook. I care about the 34,000 per episode downloads we get on all the other stuff.
Yeah, right? No, we are record high. We've just hit 120, number 120 on Apple Podcasts. So there's a link in the description if you want to like, subscribe to us
you
on
know
Apple Podcasts
why?
for our audio version.
You know why?
And leave us
'Cause
a
we tell the
review.
truth, right? We
It's
tell
true.
the truth. That's it. We tell the truth.
So the next person up on the line, and again, 888-441-1121 if you want to call in. We have Chris next on the line. Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you guys. What's up?
What's up, brother?
How's it going, Chris? What do you think about the debate?
Oh man, it was crazy. It was madness.
Chaos, Chris. Chris, it was chaos.
There were multiple parts, Chris, during the debate where I just leaned back in my chair and said, "It's chaos. It's pure chaos."
He was private.
And that's what it felt like.
Me chaos.
It was hilarious.
So obviously, you sound like a Trump supporter. Did Trump do anything tonight that would like dissuade you from voting, or do you think he didn't go far enough?
Wait, stop, Chris. Don't talk yet. Max, how do you know he's a Trump supporter? I don't even care if he's not. He actually called.
Well, no,
Let's go and talk about this. Let's go.
He said it's chaos, and then he said it's hilarious. So I just inferred.
All right,
I
well,
inferred by that. Chris, do you support the president?
Don't let him influence you.
Yes, I do.
All right.
All right, he says that. So I was right. It was a great inference.
No,
Chris,
he supported. Hold on, Max. He supported America. You just.
I was wrong.
All right. Sorry, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
What was your favorite moment of the debate, Chris?
Besides the fact that Biden shit himself.
Yeah. No, like by the end of the debate, you can tell he really wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was fair.
What I really
So
liked about
the Biden campaign asked for breaks, and they didn't get it. The Trump campaign said no breaks. Our candidate can stand up for 90 minutes. Your candidate can too. And there was definitely, you can see in Joe Biden's eyes, he got a little shifty towards the end. Yeah. So what else did you like about the debate?
Go put him on.
Well, what I liked is that Trump he kept pushing to try to prove his points, and when they throw those lies that the media pushed, and they were proven wrong, the whole calling the soldiers stupid and losers and all that stuff, and the whole define people comment, blatant lies, and Biden is just echoing and parroting whatever the media just freaking tells him to do. And I'm glad that Trump pushed hard, fighting both of them off of him to try to get his point across.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it was really unfair where Joe Biden would, in the middle of answers about unrelated questions, he would be talking about like the coronavirus pandemic, and he'd be like, "Oh, by the way, Trump called all of the soldiers losers who've ever died in American wars." And when Trump tried to respond to that, Chris Wallace would say, "No, you can't respond. It's not your time." It was amazing how Joe Biden was, and this to his credit as a politician, he was able to insert these completely bullshit. And if we post this audio, which we'll probably post this audio on our podcast, we'll have to make it explicit. Yeah. But if we actually talk about the bullshit that he was able to insert into actual...
No, we will post this podcast, right? Because my Weller requires it, right?
All right.
You cannot have me have a hangover and not tell me I can't post this.
Well, here's the thing, Joe Otto. Tomorrow, we go live in 13 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, but I completely agree, Chris, that the way that Joe Biden was able to insert this bullshit into his answers, and then the minute that Trump tried to...
He cheated.
The minute that Trump...
He cheated on shots, Chris. He cheated on shots.
The minute that Trump tried to respond, he got shut down.
Chris, he cheated.
Chris, what do you think... What are you looking for in the next debate? What do you think that Trump should do better in the next debate?
Wear a bigger diaper.
I just want Joe Rogan. That's all I want.
Yes!
Yeah.
Freaking love this guy! Who is this guy, Chris? Send your resume, baby! Whoa! Let's go live with this guy! Freaking Joe Rogan! Yes, let's go!
All right, well thank you so much for your call, Chris.
You, Chris.
I agree. I think a Joe Rogan debate. I think a Joe Rogan debate with Trump. I mean, there was that Babylon Bee article that said Donald Trump smoked the best ganja he's ever smoked after a 7-hour interview with Joe Rogan.
I'll take Rogan. Give me Rogan, baby. I will do
Trump,
200 push-ups in a row right now for Joe Rogan.
And Joe,
Let's
you've
go.
met Joe Rogan.
I have.
Yeah. So the next on the call line, we're just gonna go through the call line, I guess.
Is Joe Rogan.
The next on the call line. No. We have Chrissy.
No, it's
Chrissy,
not.
can you hear me?
I'm really mad.
Yeah, you got Chrissy, not Joe Rogan.
Chrissy, what are you doing?
I'm not being Joe Rogan though, but I am.
That's
being
okay.
Also Chris Wallace.
Yeah. What do you think was the worst thing that Chris Wallace did?
Time.
What'd you say? Say it again.
All right, so Chris Wallace this whole time. Can you imagine the absolute reverse? If this was the Democrats and we had somebody playing that same game on that end, how this would play out.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how many times and by the way, I did play the SIP game.
Did you drink?
Oh yeah. Did you drink?
Oh yeah, the whole goddamn time.
Oh, I am, Chrissy. I gotta tell you something. I can't. I know my name. Yeah, my name's Joe.
Do you know your name?
I know my name.
So,
but I'm gonna tell you, no, it's really it's been a rough night.
So a couple things.
All right.
Chrissy, we got water coming in for Joe.
I've been handling water.
By my count, and I agree, I was off. I didn't actually count every single time Obama was said in the discussion about Obamacare. So this is low, but by our count, it was 128 sips. So that's rough.
Hey,
but,
Max, you know I'm your vodka and salsa girl. I drank beer. I drank beer tonight because of this, and I am trying still.
I drank
If
beer.
Oh yeah,
too.
no, it's tough.
Beer.
Person on Chris Wallace's side, this would not fly.
Well, Chrissy, this was the Republican. So every year, every presidential election, they get one conservative moderator to moderate, and Chris Wallace was that guy. This was the Fox News moderator. Do you think that he presented a conservative view of moderation?
No, he was thought out. I don't care. That was absolutely ridiculous. He interrupted Trump 1,050,000 times, and then told Trump, "No, this is Biden's 2 minutes. Sorry, 20 and 2 are the same now. But this is his 2 minutes. But you interrupted 1.5 minutes of his entire rebuttal."
There were times where our producer Josh, and actually my sister Paige, who's in the comment section, was actually noticing that when it came to Trump, he was cut off on time. When it came to Joe Biden, he was allowed to talk longer and longer and longer. It's obvious. Like, if you want a conservative to moderate the debate, they should have gotten Tucker Carlson, right? If we want to actually say
Tucker. He would have been amazing.
I would have loved it. Tucker would have been perfect.
It would have been perfect. Like, we know that the rest of the debates.
Shut up. Not you.
We know that the rest of the debates are going to be leftist, right? At least put a conservative up there. At least put Tucker Carlson. At least let's talk about, like, the endless wars in the Middle East, right? Let him talk about the things that are important. Tucker would have knocked this out of the park. With Chris Wallace, I agree. Lots of people are saying he was just interviewing for his next job at CNN. We have another call on the line, so I'll give you the last word. What are you looking for in the next debate? What do you want Trump to do better?
I don't want Trump to do anything better. I want Biden to wait his turn, and I want the moderator to be fair.
Hey,
and
so Biden, do you want him to wait?
Do
you want him to wait his turn on the funeral home, or do you want to wait his turn? I'm just asking.
On his medication or his 30-minute break.
I mean, do you want him to drool on himself? And those that are listening to this
whichever comes first, his medication and his 30-minute break that he asked for.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you so much, Chrissy, for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Who do we have now?
So
Who's that?
Next on the line, we have Tiny. And after Tiny, if you want to call in, 888-441-1121 if you want to call in.
I'm going to let Tiny say one sentence, and then I'm going to be like, are you really Tiny?
All right, Tiny, what do you got to say?
Come on, Tiny.
Huh? Do what?
Tiny, how are you?
I'm fine.
What are you thinking about the debate? What's your biggest takeaway?
Well, I'll tell you, first off, I am a Trump supporter,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he should have been a little more prepared on some of his answers. You know, Trump has this thing, everybody knows. Well, like the thing, he ought to have known they were going to bring that part up about the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
And okay. And the thing about it, you know like I do, if Trump had have said that when he was in France, that would have been in the newspaper before he got back to the States.
Yeah.
He should have brought that up.
It also would have been in John Bolton's book. Like, John Bolton released this book. What was it called? Like, In the Room Where It Happened? He's basically trying to make this play off of the play, what was it, Hamilton? The Room Where It Happened,
Right.
The Room Where It Happened, The Room Where It Happened.
Right.
No, that's fair use. We're criticizing the play. Don't take us down, Facebook. But John Bolton made that book. If it happened, you would think that John Bolton would have put it in his book, right?
Yes, that's right. And that's what I'm saying. Because everything Trump does, they put it in the newspaper the next day, and it's on the news. Now, if he had have said that, it would have been in the news before he got back from France.
Yeah.
I firmly
Absolutely.
believe that.
Absolutely. So,
And I think
I understand.
I think he needs.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I just think he should have been prepared on some of those things. And just like when they were talking about the riot,
Zach?
I think he should have called them out on that, because they're all in the Democratic states.
Now, I think that Trump.
I think he kind of slipped up on some things.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think that
Yeah.
Trump tried to. I do think at times that Chris Wallace intervened and stopped the conversation from going down that route. So I do understand what you're saying, and I appreciate it. I think that Trump going forward, I think he could have been a little bit more forceful at times. People are ripping the liquor out of Joe Otto's hand right now. I don't know if you can see this on live stream. Tiny, last words. We have another caller. What's your last opinion?
But I got one question.
Yes, one.
Huh?
How did they determine that Joe Biden was not being fed the answers after it was asked? Because he did too good on there tonight.
Yeah,
he didn't do too good.
Oh
They
no!
They fed him a lot of Adderall.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't say a whole lot of substance, but I just don't know how he kept it together as long as he did, because normally he cannot do that.
Yeah, so just as a preface, and thank you so much, Chrissy, Tiny, for your call. Just as a preface for this, the Donald Trump campaign. Well, no, hold on. We'll get to Zach in a second. The Trump campaign tried to force Joe Biden to actually prove that he wasn't wearing an earpiece. Joe Biden had agreed days ago to doing it, changed his mind today. So that is a serious issue, right? So if Joe Biden wasn't willing to prove he wasn't wearing an earpiece, it makes you question a lot of his answers. And there were times where we brought it up where Joe Biden was looking away at times during the debate. And I think that bi-language experts will go over this in the coming days. But if Joe Biden wasn't willing to prove he wasn't wearing an earpiece,
us.
Makes you question.
We'll do that
it makes
tomorrow.
you question whether.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So next on the lines we have Zach. Zach, how's it going? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
What's up, Zach?
How you doing? You're still awake.
Barely.
I really wanted to touch on the climate change that they talked about tonight, because it was really brief, but the forestry techniques that California has not been responsible with, and then also trying to pin Trump into the climate denial category right away, because conservatives don't really think that we don't contribute to the greenhouse gases. Like, if you look at the ice sheet in the Arctic Circle, it hasn't really shrunk in size in the last year, but the sea levels are still rising. And then you look at China building islands in the ocean, and people are like, the only way that this could be happening is the Earth is getting warmer. It's like there's more than one way to address climate change, and they think the only way is to spend hundreds of billions of dollars to do it.
So I think it's an interesting perspective because every conservative I know loves the environment, and when you actually break down the numbers by dollar percentages, conservatives are the one paying into the environment when it comes to paying the taxes on ammunition, paying the taxes on gun sales, paying the taxes on tags for animals.
Max,
yeah,
stop. Right?
Okay.
You know,
collaborate and listen.
Ice is back with a brand new edition. All right, coffee. Hold on. Coffee. I am struggling. Zach,
No.
Zach, I'm struggling. Hold on. Max, shh. It's my time. I want to be like
I'm
this.
the coherent one. Don't shush the coherent one.
Because you cheated. All right, listen. I want to be clear. Conservatives go, why not be responsible? Why not clean up things? It's logical. Like, don't leave things worse than what you left them, right? And the reality is, here's what the liberals feel like. They feel like they can say, I knocked over a bottle. Jack.
Oh, and
you're doing great, Jack.
Max, no, Max, shush.
Listen,
Zach,
you don't have the sound of random bottles falling over on my side of the stream. I'm just letting you know.
Because I'm drinking whiskey, right? That's what happens. All right, listen.
Joe's on the brown juice.
Zach, I am, Zach. You got it. But listen, the reality of it is that the left, the liberals, want to feel good without doing good. They don't want to actually complete the process. All we want to do is be responsible. Just be responsible in where you are. Liberals want to actually talk about things that are not true. They want to lie about things. It's the same thing.
They want to borrow money from China to make China greener to save the environment.
Right.
And we pay for China when we subsidize out because it's cheaper there and they have less environmental regulation.
So hold on.
You mentioned something.
Max.
Oh, no. You accused me of not drinking.
I'm not letting you. No.
Again.
Zach, tell him to shut up. Zach, tell him to shut up.
Edward Scissorhands.
This is between you guys.
Zach. Hold on. Just shut up, Max. Shut up for a second. I'm going to tell you right now. I grew up in Washington, D.C., right? I grew up there. All Democrats. All racists. And pedophiles and closet racists.
Closet racists.
Right, they are. But here's the thing. I just want to say this because I'm drunk, number one, but it's true. And you talk about true stuff when you're drunk because of these guys. They made me drink too much.
I'm your best employee.
Yeah, he is.
You feel passionately.
I do. But I want to say this. Every single time, like my dad's black, my mom's white, my whole family's interracial. I have lived racism in places none of you guys would even understand, right? But I'm going to tell you, the most racist places, the most hypocritical places I've ever lived are in places where they wanted to push some sort of radical agenda. It wasn't in the conservative environment. And if it was, why is it that every conservative environment out there, every conservative area that's run by Republicans, why is it they have the lowest crime rate? Why is it they have they don't have these issues? They don't. Why?
In actual death, that was another falsity that he said, because he was saying that Republican cities are just as dangerous, but when you look at actual death counts for each city in the top 20, it's 19 liberal cities. There's so much stuff tonight that like the average person has no idea that it's a lie, but that's why you got to beat the media algorithm. You get caught down the rabbit holes, and it distracts you from what's really going on.
Going back to what you originally said, talking about like the greenhouse gases and the environment, I think every conservative agrees that you need to take best care of the environment because conservatives are the ones out hunting elk, out hunting deer, right? They're the ones who are actually using the environment, and they pay taxes through ammunition purchases, firearm purchases, the tags for the actual animals they intend to hunt. They're the ones who pay the most taxes into and actually preserving the environment. I think the biggest problem is when you look at things like the Paris Climate Accords, which is, as Trump actually to his credit said, is an attempt to just siphon money out of the United States to pay for other countries, while those other countries have actually no requirements to cut their own emissions. That's where you lose me. Because as a conservative, I'm all about the environment. I'm all about clean water, clean air, clean forest, right? I'm all about that. I'm the one out there hunting. I want there to be clean forests. But when you start telling me that,
Max,
that my tax dollars need to start going to...
You screwed
That's
up
not
my
true.
elk shot.
Oh, yeah. My shot messed up your shot.
Yeah,
That's the argument. Yeah. Okay.
No,
okay.
really.
Well,
I want to go to.
true
I want to
because
go to marriage
they
counseling right now.
ship people.
What?
They want to ship jobs and stuff over there
Yeah,
too,
they do.
because the cost
Absolutely.
of doing business is less because of regulation. So not only do we pay money, taxpayer dollars, to give them greener tech, but then we also send jobs over there because they're just behind the United States on our regulations. So it's just barely enough behind that it makes more sense business-wise to ship them over there. It's so ridiculous. Like, I can't believe how many presidents didn't defend the American worker and just let everything outsource to China. I mean, in my lifetime, no one has addressed it since I've been born.
Hey, who's on?
Yeah.
What's up?
Well, I think that part of the reason for that is that when you look at the actual political class, there's no Chinese factory that's going to hire a bunch of political commentators. There's no Chinese factory that's going to hire a bunch of radio hosts or TV hosts. Right? The actual political class is not going to actually have any effect by the
Zach,
the
love you, brother. You got to
outsourcing.
call during the week. We gotta give Maria some.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
Zach,
thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll go. You guys have fun.
Right,
See you
thanks,
later.
brother.
Thank you. So I'm going to say this in a much better way. Zach, thank you so much for your call. Now we're going to go
What are you talking
to
about?
Maria.
Zach knows I'm his brother from another mother. All right.
Well, no,
Stop.
You're just like Zach.
Hey,
Zach, we
tell
got
Max to
Maria.
sit down. Max, sit down. Maria, how you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
How much have you had to drink tonight, Maria?
Did you play the game?
I haven't had too much. I was
You
playing
lied.
the game. I was following
Okay.
along. I wasn't drinking too much.
So you are the sober voice among us. Go ahead,
I
speak
am.
your truth.
So I need to preface this by saying huge Trump fan, huge conservative Daly fan. Something that I was really hoping to see tonight was I really was wishing that he was going to kind of prove everybody wrong and be this like respectful person that quite honestly he isn't always. I think he's hilarious. I think that it's great the way he acts. I loved how he acted tonight. I see the people that maybe are sitting in the middle. I wish that he would have given us that, super respectful, that side of him that we weren't expecting to see, and just let Biden fall on his face. That's what I was hoping to see.
All right,
So
Maria.
the
let me
challenge-
hold on,
the
stop,
challenge,
Max.
Maria.
Stop. Maria, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
So I believe that courage is as infectious as fear. Right? Come sit over here. Lamont, come sit here.
What's going on?
No. I have Lamont here.
I apologize, Maria.
Maria.
There are antics.
Come here. But I believe that courage is as infectious as fear. And what I mean by that is, frankly, don't at some point, doesn't he have to stand up and call a liar a liar?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
Would you expect
Absolutely.
Would you expect him to stay in the shadows and wait for that opportunity to call him a liar? Not in the media that, by the way, lies about everything. Would you let him validate that he is actually telling the truth?
Yes and no. I just think that, quite honestly, the people that want to listen to him will listen to him, and it's like, if you don't like him, you don't really care what he has to say, kind of a thing. And so I wish that he would just give us that level of respect, so that maybe the people that really are not paying too much attention would view him in a little bit of a higher standard.
So, Maria, I think that in fairness, going into this debate, there's a very small segment of the population that hasn't already decided where they're going to vote. When you look at likely voters, from that point, I understand what you're saying, absolutely. But as we've talked about, Joe Biden called him a racist to his face. Right? They said that he said that he called every single dead American in a foreign war a loser, right? There were things that Joe Biden said throughout the night that if Donald Trump had stepped back and not confronted, I think would have been far more. Who we got coming on? It would have been far more damaging than if Trump had gone after it. So I understand what you're saying. I will say respectfully, I think that the amount of people you're talking about is much smaller than we think it is. So what do you think about that?
So I think that he would have been able to, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Trump supporter, but I think that when those drastic comments were made, that we would have been able to maybe take more, like, listen to that a little bit more if we were a little calmer with the other things that were said, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So those were drastic things that he definitely should have acted the way that he did act. But I feel like nobody listened to him because he was like that the entire time, no matter what was said, if that makes sense.
I think that's fair. And I think that when you look at, I mean, there were other things that were much less maybe historically controversial, but Joe Biden claiming that Donald Trump is responsible for COVID deaths, like all COVID deaths, like the fact that it's 204,000 people dead, it's Donald Trump's fault. We know that the governors of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Michigan all sent COVID patients into nursing homes. Like the idea that it's Donald Trump's fault, it's ludicrous. So I understand what you're saying, but I do think that there were a lot of smaller things that Joe Biden said that were just as justifiable in Donald Trump's pointed response. That maybe in the grand scheme of things might have not been as crazy as Biden saying that he called all foreign fallen soldiers losers or whatever. Like it wouldn't seem as big of a deal in comparison to that, but were like individually radical things to say. So I get it. Like when it comes to approaching the middle, Donald Trump might not have won the middle tonight, but when it comes to shoring up his base, I think Donald Trump did a great job of that. What's your final word?
I think that the people that don't follow politics and didn't really know what was going on weren't even able to listen to tonight. And I think that was the biggest takeaway. I kind of wish that from both sides we were able to have a conversation. I mean, this was ridiculous tonight. This was not a good debate, in my opinion.
Well, it shows you how divided this country is, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. Hey, I want to thank you for calling. I want to actually welcome. Hey, thank you for calling. Really, I really appreciate
you. Thank you so much, Maria.
But Maria, look, I want to do something. So I'm not going to tell you who this is. But
well, no, if you bring someone on camera, you have to explain who they are, at least generally.
So his name's Carl. Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Thanks for coming to the show. Right? Say hi.
You can't just bring someone on and say, I'm not going to tell you who this is.
So, what? This way? I'll go this way. This way. This way. Come this way a little bit. All right. So I want to say this for a couple reasons. So Carl is my friend, right? Say you're a friend.
Carl, confirm or deny?
He said,
That's bullshit. He's sitting over going, right. He kind of looks like a hostage where he's like, confirm or deny, Carl?
Are
friendship.
We friends or are we not friends?
There's a friendship there, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And so he was literally walking by and he's like, hey, what do you want to do? And I said, hey, come on. We don't agree, right?
No.
There are things we don't agree about. We play football together. I play football. I'm a really good quarterback, just so you know, if you need one. We keep winning championships. But so beyond that, Carl knows me, right? He knows who I am.
All the comment section, everyone in the comment section is saying, hi, Carl.
Hi,
just
Carl.
letting you know.
Look at this. Hi, Carl. So we don't agree on many things. We actually agree on lots of things, but we don't agree on other things, right? But one of the things that we actually talk about quite a bit is race relations and things like that. And Carl actually works on our team, and I'll take the time to actually have conversations because he knows that I struggle with some of the things that actually have gone on, right? So some of the things that have gone on with George Floyd. It doesn't matter. It affects me, right? And it affects you.
Correct.
Yeah, he's correct. He's paralyzed.
It's okay to talk.
Yeah, it's okay. Literally. I literally called him out and said, "Hey, listen, I want you really to get on this show." Right?
It feels like that. It feels like he was just dragged onto the show with absolutely no forewarning whatsoever.
He's like, "Who's watching?" He's like this. Who's watching? But
Sherry says that Carl needs to rescue Joe.
He does need some rescuing.
I do need some rescuing. But here's the thing.
All right, so Carl, what did you think of the debate?
He didn't watch it.
No, I wasn't watching at the time.
Wait, you brought someone out who didn't watch the debate?
Yes, I did.
How does this at all contribute to the show? Carl, I don't know you, but I like you. But how does bringing someone onto the show who hasn't watched the debate at all contribute at all to the post-game discussion?
It is. Listen, I'll tell you why. What kind of conversations have I had, Carl?
Max Jr. contributed more to this conversation.
No, that's bullshit. What?
Don't you say that about my son.
Hey, listen, what kind of conversations have we had?
Oh, we had several conversations about the debate. And,
No, not the debate, but like life, like things that we don't agree with or do agree with. We've had those conversations.
Oh, you're talking about like the racial justice,
Yeah.
police and all. Oh, yeah, we have several conversations about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big things about all of that, I mean, I'll just say it, is that we agree on a lot of those things because, Max, you were there 3 years ago. What happened 3 years ago?
Yeah. Your brother passed away.
Passed away? No, passed away is when you actually die in your sleep.
He died. He died during a police chase.
He was what?
He died during a police chase. He
was what?
Driven into a wall. Driven into
on a traffic stop.
Median, whatever. Yeah.
All right. So we've had this conversation about accountability, and it's not that. And we've also had the conversation about what I experienced growing up and what he experienced growing up. Right? So,
yeah.
Look, I want to tell everyone that's listening, listen, there is no perfect science to life. There is no racial equality. It doesn't exist. It doesn't. It doesn't. All you have is individual action. People that actually do things that are motivated not by race or not by individual, but motivated by just being a good person, right?
Yeah. So, Carl, if you had to guess, your gut feeling, who do you think won the debate tonight, Donald Trump or Joe Biden? Having not watched it, your gut feeling, who do you think won the debate? The fact that we're now an hour into our post game, who do you think won the debate?
With all the news happening, it sounds like maybe Biden probably.
What?
Get out of here! Get out of here! Carl, you're done.
No,
you're
Carl's
fired.
dead. No,
you're
Carl's
fired.
dead.
No,
Yeah.
Carl's done. Carl's done.
You know I had to say that. It says conservative.
You don't have to say that. No.
Right across the top.
Oh, no.
It was going
No. So let's dive into that. You just said, I had to say that. What does that mean?
Because you're very opinionated. So
Who
if I
is?
was to
Okay.
say that, you are. You're very opinionated.
Oh, hell yeah, I am.
And I know
So
Max is
why-
very opiniinated.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So although
So why did you feel?
Although
Why did you feel that having not? Why did you feel that having not won the debate, you had to make a determination that Joe Biden won it?
Leading up to the information that was on the news the other day.
Fake news.
What news?
That he probably brought to the table for the conversation tonight. Although I was not there to watch it, I'm pretty
was-
sure
What-
that
what
he
no.
probably said
He
some
watched
things to rattle
CNN.
some change. And
So you're citing
get to
news
see
from
that.
from a day or so ago.
yeah, sure.
You say based on the news from a day yesterday.
Correct.
Based on the news from yesterday, you believe that Joe Biden won the debate?
Maybe rattle
on
some
now.
chains. So
You think that based on the news from yesterday, Joe Biden rattled some chains today?
correct.
I want to remind you that, just so you know, Carl, that like 30,000 people or more, probably more. 40,000.
No. I want to dive into
your
this.
stuff about you.
I want to dive into this. Carl, what news are you talking about yesterday? Just name an outlet.
I need to reprogram Carl.
This is a deeper conversation. You know we're
Well, Carl, you said that without hearing it, based on the news, you say that Joe Biden's won it. And when I asked you what news you're talking about, you're talking about news from yesterday. So I'm just trying to understand why you believe Joe Biden won the debate if the information you're pulling from is yesterday's news.
Right. So
what news? What news channels?
The tax references, some of the other stuff that they dug up on him.
So because the New York Times posted an article without actually providing the first person actual data, the actual tax returns, you believe that because the New York Times posted an analysis of Donald Trump's tax returns, you believe that means that Joe Biden won the debate today?
Max, what Carl just agreed with, by the way, is the fact that he lied. He actually did listen to the debates a little bit.
I didn't listen to not a bit of it.
A little bit? What?
No.
Oh no! He just said it. So his entire analysis is yesterday's news. I'm just trying to understand this because the news media, the fake news media, is very powerful. If the fake news media said something yesterday that has you so convinced that Joe Biden won the debate today, I want to know what that fake news was. Because no one has a time machine. No one could have possibly published anything yesterday to convince you that Joe Biden won the debate today. I just want to know what it was.
I'm not too much convinced. It's just some things that scroll past the TV. I don't get to watch TV that much. I'm too busy working, Max. I'm sorry.
He works hard.
You know.
I'm going to tell you this. Max, I'm going to tell you this. Carl works hard.
All right.
12-hour days. Literally.
Yeah.
He does a lot of work. And here's the other thing, right?
I'm just going to say, respectfully, I'm working at 10:30 p.m. my time. I don't want to hear
you don't work
that at all. Oh, it's 10:30 p.m.
I know Max.
It's 10:30 p.m.
Max.
It's 10:30 p.m. and I'm running
this is
a lot.
not optics.
Right.
You don't get the one day. Oh, Max is crying.
Okay.
I see a tear.
No, okay, Joe. Say what you need to say. No, go for it.
Hey, hold on. I'm going to drink. Hey, listen. I want to say this. Trump was literally angry because the American people were being cheated. That's the reality, right? And so I actually saw Carl walking by, and I was like, Carl, come in here. Sit down for a minute. He's like, I don't want to sit down. He actually said it. I don't want to sit down. But he did. He had the courage to sit down. So I'm going to tell you, look, we don't know individual experience. We don't know that. We do know holistically what happens in our country over time, right? Like, what are we all subject to? What do we all have to deal with on a daily basis, right? And it's an opportunity to have the conversation. That's all. It's just an opportunity to have the conversation.
All right, well, that's going to be it for this edition of the Conservative Daily Podcast. We have links in the description if you want to download it. Make sure you do. Thank you, everyone, for chiming in. We're going to cover the next presidential debate.
It
so
says
make sure
Max
you tune
is
into
pissed.
that.
Max not pissed. Max not pissed.
No, it's 10:30 at night, and you just told me I don't work that hard, so I'm going to go to bed. Based on your definition, I shouldn't be working right now, so I'm going to go to bed. No, really. If I don't work that hard, 10:30 at night, I'll go to bed. So thank you, everyone, for watching Conservative Daily Podcast. It's been great. We'll be live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you check that out. We'll be taking calls. And again, make sure you follow our Facebook page. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, thank you so much. And as I always say, remember that the fight to take back our country is not over, but the only way we win is if we all stand up and fight together.